Hello, guys, and welcome to Football Fan Den UK. So tonight we're here for match watch along. Okay out there. Great to be watching this game. Hopefully, it should be a good one, guys. We're just a minute in. Sorry, I was a tiny bit late. Just not yet again into the new year, and the craziness is there, but have to deal with it. So 0-0, guys. Man City in possession at the moment. If you just join us, be great to hear from you. Please do consider subscribing and hit that like button. Drop your comments in the chats. Like I say, always great to hear from you guys. And a big part of the reason we're doing so many watch-alongs at the moment is to allow more fans to find out about our project, because we are a real fan project working to try and create something quite unique for the fan community. Not for clubs, not for leagues, not for football association, but for you guys out there. Hopefully that sounds good to you. And if it does, please do get involved, because, like I say, this is a channel that cares about fans, not football associations, not players, not clubs, you guys, because without fans, football is nothing. So, like I say, guys, please do consider hitting that like button and get involved in the live chat. Or if you're watching this after the show, please do consider commenting in the comments section. Want to hear from you. So just a tackle at the moment between Chelsea and City. And looks like we might have a hamstring problem for Raheem Sterling early on. He's holding his leg at the back of his thigh just after that challenge. So hopefully it's not too serious. But it don't look good when players pull up holding the back of their calf. So fingers crossed he hasn't got a serious injury. But like I say, only time will tell. See what you guys are saying in the chat. Keaton, how's it going, Keaton? Great to have you with us, mate. Evening, UG. Hope for a Chelsea win or at least a draw. Yeah, that's understandable. Obviously, big Man United fan, Keaton. So yeah, totally understandable. Are you enjoying your Christmas present, mate? So you got a surprise Christmas present the other day. So I presume you've been trying to find a bit of time to enjoy that, mate. Hopefully you have. But yeah, it's to be honest, both of these teams at the minute kind of underachieving a little bit compared to what we know they can achieve or what they have achieved in previous seasons. Big surprise to see Arsenal and Newcastle at the top of the league, and these two clubs languishing behind, so to speak. So, like I say, it's a big game for both of these two clubs to try and close the gap on the top of the table. But like you say, Keaton, obviously wanting City to drop points, which is understandable. Like I say, being a massive Man United fan, does look like Sterling has come off with an injury. So fingers crossed he makes a speedy recovery. And looks like Chelsea are bringing on Aubameyang to replace him. So we'll see how that develops with the change, because it's going to probably mean a tactical change for Chelsea. But like I say, all we could do on behalf of Sterling going off with the injury is wish him a speedy recovery. So the game's restarted now at the back with Chelsea. Man City pressing from the front. And a long ball up into midfield, and it's just switching about between the two teams a little bit at the minute. But City have finally got the ball down and now starting to pass it around. Ethan Dixon, how's it going, mate? Welcome to the chat. Great to have you with us. Appreciate you dropping in, mate. Hello, how's it going, mate? What's your thoughts on tonight's game? Big game for these two clubs. Obviously, they're both a little bit underachieving in the league at the minute. Not too much, but obviously a little bit below what we would normally expect from these two clubs. And like I said at the start of the show, Big surprise to see Arsenal and Newcastle at the top of the league. It's normally these two clubs that we would expect to see at the top of the league. So in that respect, they are kind of underachieving a little bit. But I'm sure one of them is going to be looking, well, if not both of them, going to be looking to try and get something out of this to try and close the gap on the top. Draw would be a good result, I suppose, from a neutral perspective for the rest of the league. But also, if you want to see competition at the top, then, or if you want to see more competition at the top, should I say, then obviously you'd be looking for one of these two teams to grab the 3 points and close that gap on the top two teams. But yeah, thanks for that, Ethan. And like I say, mate, let us know if you got any thoughts on the game. Keaton Townsend, been working away all week, back home tomorrow. Yeah, it was a nice surprise. Hope you both are all well. Thank you. No worries, mate. Sorry to hear you working away at so much at the minute, but unfortunately, that's just part of life, innit? Unfortunately, we all have to put the hours in one way or another. But yeah, hopefully you are safe and well where you are, Keaton, and look forward to seeing you home enjoying your Christmas present, mate. But yeah, like I say, me and Becky are good. Thank you very much for asking, mate, and hopefully you and Leonie are the same, as well as Jesse. I'm probably back in school now as well, so hopefully you guys are all doing well. But yeah, thank you very much, Keaton, for dropping in. Really appreciate it, mate, and hopefully you have a safe journey home tomorrow from wherever in the UK it is that you're working away at the minute, mate. So just seeing that City in possession, midway inside Chelsea's half of the field. Ball crossed over to this near side. As City looking to create some space to try and exploit Chelsea's defence. But not much to say at the minute, guys. Just passing it about a bit in midfield. Although we have got a ball coming into the box here, but it's cleared by Chelsea, and now they pick it up and look to build some momentum up the other end of the field. But they are being pressed from the front from Man City, so they might find that difficult as the game progresses. Ethan Dixon saying 1-0 Man City. Yeah, that's a good shout, mate. That's a good shout. I think it's either going to be one of them kind of games, isn't it, mate, where it's a tight one with only one goal to divide the two teams, or we're going to see plenty of goal mouth-action with a couple of goals. It's going to be that kind of game. We'll have to see how it pans out in the first 20 minutes. But yeah, it's with these two teams, it kind of goes like that, doesn't it? It's either a tight game with just one goal to separate the two teams, or it's going to be a bit of a bombardation of the goal area with both teams going at it. Because, like we said, but both of these clubs are both capable of scoring a hat full of goals when they're playing well. So yeah, good shout, Ethan. Like I say, mate, that's definitely a possibility. But I'm no offense to your score prediction, mate. I'm hoping for a few more goals than that to make the game an enjoyable one to watch. So yeah, but like you say, it could be a tight one, as Ethan is predicting. So thanks for that, mate. Guys, if you're just joining us, please do drop your comments in the chat. We'll be keeping you up to date as much as possible through the game, but also trying to involve you guys as well in the chat. So please do hit that like button and drop your comments in the chat. Be great to hear from you. City in possession at the minute on the halfway line. Just not, like I say, guys, not much to say in this first 10 minutes. The possession has switched hands a couple of times. Not too much attacking in the goal areas early on. But like I say, I think these two clubs just probing each other a little bit at the minute for weaknesses, and obviously seeing if all the players are fully motivated, because all it takes is one player not to be motivated, and that can open the floodgates, can't it, with either of these two teams. So yeah, thanks for that, Ethan. Dylan, PFC underscore DY4 is Dylan. Good evening, mate. How are you? I'm good, thanks, mate. Great to see you. Thank you very much for coming, getting involved. Let us know, Dylan, if you've got a score prediction. Obviously, lots going on at the minute in League One and at your club, Portsmouth. So I'm sure that's very much on your mind at the minute with the management situation and everything. I've heard that Neil Warnock is linked with you guys as well. So I'm not sure if that's a good choice. He is a good manager, but I think no offense to Neil Warnock, his best days are behind him. So like I said, not sure what you're thinking of that, and if you've heard the same rumor. At the minute, guys, like I say, just not much to pick out. Man City having a bit more possession than Chelsea, but although Chelsea had just cut out the ball, and now they look to move down that far side with Aubameyang. But Man City have blocked the shot, and it's now gone out on that far side for a throw-in. I think it's just thrown to City. It must have ricocheted back off the Chelsea player. But yeah, thanks for that, Dylan. And yes, I'm good. Thanks, mate. And hopefully you're well. Like I said, let me know your thoughts on Neil Warnock being linked with the Portsmouth job. If you're still there, mate. Joey is saying, hi, Fandon. How's it going, Joey? Welcome to the show, mate. Great to have you with us tonight. Always a pleasure. And hopefully you are well, mate. Let us know, Joey, if you've got a score prediction for tonight's game. Unfortunately, I'm going to be quite limited over the next couple of days what I can do with the FA Cup action because I've got, as I say, we're back into the new year and my normal job is kicking in now and causing me a few headaches with my availability. But I will keep very active on the channel as much as possible when I'm able to, when my normal job doesn't interfere. So just giving you guys a quick heads up that I might not be able to do very much over the next couple of days with the FA Cup games coming at us. But I will try and do what I can. We'll have to see how it goes over the next few days. But thanks, Joey. Great to see you in the chat, mate. Thank you very much for coming, getting involved. And PFC underscore DY4 is Dylan. I'm going for a 2-2 draw. That's a good shout, mate. It'd be good if we see a few goals in this one tonight. We feel like I feel like I'm just in the mood for a nice end-to-end game tonight. We watched quite a few games over the last few weeks, and some of them have been a little bit dull in respect of how many goals has been scored. So let's hope there's a good amount of goals tonight. We've got a cross into the box from Man City, but it's cut out by the goalkeeper for Chelsea, and now he looks to get Chelsea on the move up the other end of the field. But yeah, like I said, Dylan, that's a good shout, that, mate. Like I said, hopefully we will get a few goals in this one. Dylan also saying Neil Warnock has been ruled out. Apparently, the club are looking at appointing a head coach from non-league. Well, do you think that's because they see some talent down there, or do you think that's a cost-cutting exercise, mate? That's a bit unusual. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think Neil Warnock is one of the greatest managers. He's a good manager, but I don't think he's one of the greatest. But at least he's got the experience to maybe help Portsmouth get back on track. Chelsea in possession on the far side. And now they come in with a cross into the box, but it's deep. And Man City pick up the possession, trying to clear it, but only managed to clear it as far as halfway inside their own half of the field. And now Chelsea pick up the possession. And a long ball down that far side sees Chelsea look to get another cross in. Bit too much pace on that ball, though, and it's gone out from a for a throw-in on the far side to Manchester City. But yeah, like I said, Dylan, that's that would indicate to me if the club are looking at non-league, either they've spotted a manager down there that they think can help them improve, or it's a case of they're looking to replace the manager with a cheaper manager. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Dylan. Opportunity for Manchester City. Sorry, for Chelsea into the box. We got a player down injured as a result of that. But yeah, Chelsea steal the ball from Man City with a bit of slow possession play from Man City and break into the box. Two players coming together just on this near side post or close to this near side post and kind of clatter into each other. And it's gone out behind for a corner to Chelsea. But I think Pulisic is just feeling the effects of that challenge because he's just limping a bit. But hopefully he's going to be all right. We don't want to see any players picking up any serious injuries. I'll come back to the chat in a moment, guys. Corners taken into the and it comes towards the near post. It's cleared, but another cross coming in, and that's deep. And now we've got a claim for a handball inside the box, and the referee has blown the whistle. So that opportunity a bit wasted for Chelsea. I'm not sure who got the handball because didn't quite see it, but definitely seen all the players trying to claim the handball. A whole bunch of players there trying to claim the handball. Joey's saying, think it will will go for a 1-1 draw. Yeah, like I said, mate, it's going to be. I think both teams could cancel each other out tonight, but hopefully they do it by scoring a few goals, and we might get. You know, if it is going to be a draw, let's hope it's like a 2-2 draw, maybe a 3-3 draw. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Because then we're guaranteed plenty of goal mouth action if it ends up like that. But I think it's a lot of fans would probably predict a draw tonight because these two teams are quite closely matched, and both potential title challengers. We just got a stoppage at the minute, guys. Not much going on at the minute with Pulisic down on the ground, just receiving some medical attention. Hopefully, it's nothing too serious. I've just seen Benetti being shown on the camera. New signing today for Chelsea, so it's going to be an interesting one when he gets some game time. But yeah, the transfer window is well and truly open, and hopefully we will get a show done on that in the next week or so, so we can have some debate around the transfer window as well, hopefully. So Pulisic just on the far side, guys, just he's still limping, but it looks like he's just trying to run it off, see if he can come back on the pitch. He has got a bit of a limp, but hopefully, like I say, hopefully that's just the initial feel of the initial coming together. Like you say, when you get players taking a knock, sometimes they can just feel the pain being intent, right? And it can calm down, but it's not looking good. It's been escorted down the touchline now by the medical staff. So that's not a good sign for Chelsea now. A really tough night for them now with two players going off injured. Sterling in the first 10 minutes and now Pulisic also going off with an injury. So that's concerning for Chelsea. Two major players getting injured in the first 20 minutes of this one. Man City now in possession on the halfway line. Now they've moved the ball out to this near side and cut back inside to De Bruyne on the edge of the box. But De Bruyne doesn't manage to get the ball, and now Chelsea pick it up and look to build some possession to get back up the other end of the field, but still being deep inside their own half at the minute, being pressed by Manchester City. But they are starting to move up the field. Thanks for that, Joey. PFC_DY4 is Dylan saying, I hope your job goes well over the next few days, mate. Yeah, it's just, it's just work. It's like I say, it's just frustrating because obviously we made some great progress with the channel through the World Cup and the Christmas period, and just really eager to keep that momentum building and keep pushing forward with the project. But unfortunately, like I say, we've got bills to pay. Everybody has things to pay for. So just got to ride it out with the main job and try and squeeze whatever work I can on the channel around it. But thank you very much for that, Dylan. Really appreciate the positivity, mate, and the encouragement. And like I say, let's hope over the next few weeks my main job doesn't interfere too much. Fingers crossed. Thanks for that, Dylan. Chelsea in possession at the minute, deep inside their own half, being pressed by City, and now City have managed to regain possession. Unusually, though, guys, it's the striker coming back to help the defence for City. Sorry, it's the strikers defending from the front for City that helps them regain possession. And now we've got a cross into the box for City, but it's plucked out the air by the Chelsea goalkeeper. And now Chelsea's goalkeeper keeping hold of the ball, looking to relieve some pressure from Man City. But yeah, early on, we're just seeing that Chelsea's struggling to deal a little bit with the press from Man City. But probably part of that, guys, is the fact that they're having to adjust their tactics to accommodate two major players going off with injury. And now we're seeing that Carney Chukwa, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, has come onto the field, replacing Raheem Sterling. So disappointing for Chelsea to lose two key players so early in this one. Dylan is saying, I don't know about you, but I really miss the ability to sleep in. Yeah, that is to be honest, mate. Yeah, it's one thing that has caused me problems, but also lots of late nights with all the preparation that I need to do. Sometimes, some nights there's a lot of preparation. Some nights it's not too bad, but some nights there's a lot of preparation, and I always try to do it the night before because I never know what's going to be thrown at me in the daytime. So yeah. I've been having the same battle, mate. Lots of nights where I've had minimal sleep, trying to keep motivated and keep the intensity up. But like I say, I know you're facing the same problem with building your Instagram account as well, mate. But not to worry. Try do your best, but sometimes you maybe just have to take a break and take a day off just to recharge the batteries, so to speak. The game's restarted now, guys. Chelsea in possession midway inside their own half as they switch the ball out to that far side and look to move up the field under pressure from City. And now City reclaim possession. Chelsea claiming a handball, but the referee's not allowing it. And now De Bruyne, for the second time early on, has lost possession. That's concerning. That De Bruyne is having a bit of a bad start to the game. He's twice received the ball and lost it quite easily for Man City. And I bet that's not making Pep Guardiola happy at the minute. Chelsea finally get up the other end of the field, trying to get into the box, but unable to break through the Man City defence to get an opportunity on goal. But they managed to keep possession and they're now on the halfway line, just moving the ball about between the defenders and the midfield, looking to probe City for weaknesses and gaps to exploit. So we'll come back to that in a second, guys. But like I said, just Chelsea just passing it about a bit at the minute on the halfway line. Joey's saying, shame, what's... Oh, sorry, Dylan, I've missed your comment. Apologies, Dylan. Dylan saying they're going for the cheaper option. That's what they've done since they arrived. Obviously, Dylan there talking about the Portsmouth owners and the frustration for the Pompey fans with the ownership and the way they're managing the club. Disappointing for such a prestigious club, but unfortunately, when we have a football association that don't do much to protect our clubs, we find that a lot of clubs in the lower leagues are becoming at the mercy of rich businessmen that look to profit, use our clubs to profit and profit only. But let's hope things improve, Dylan. I know there's going to be a lot of fan protests probably as we lead into the springtime from the Pompey fans, and let's hope that puts some pressure on the ownership to recognise that their efforts or their lack of effort is not appreciated by the Portsmouth community. Chelsea in possession on the just outside the Man City box, passing it about amongst themselves, probing for gaps, and now an attempted cross is blocked by Man City, and now they clear the ball up the end of the field. But it's picked up by, excuse me, guys. It's picked up by the Chelsea goalkeeper deep inside their own half. He actually comes out of his area to help Chelsea keep the press on Man City, but it's not quite worked out like that. And now Chelsea still in possession and looking to move up the field. It's unusual to see City not having as much possession in this one. We know they're very much a possession-based team, but Chelsea managing to keep quite a bit of possession in the last 5 minutes. So we'll see how that develops, because at the minute, like I say, they're just struggling to get out their own half through the press coming from Man City. So we'll see how that develops over the next couple of minutes. Sorry, Joey. Joey's saying, Shane, what's going on with your club, Dylan? What a great club. Hope things turn around soon. Absolutely. Well said, Joey. So we've... sorry, guys. I'll come back to the comments in a minute. We've just got a corner for Chelsea on the far side. 27 minutes gone, guys. I'm just waiting to see how this develops with the corner. Corner comes in, and it's cleared. It's headed back out, but only as far as close to the touchline. But Chelsea struggling to keep possession under pressure from City. And now we've got a flag up for a foul on a Chelsea player. So they got a free kick just on the edge of the penalty box of Man City on the far side of the pitch. So while we wait for that, this looks like it's in a fairly good position for a cross into the box. I'd say it's probably just waiting for the camera. It's about 10 yards from the corner flag on that far side, guys. So I think we're going to see a really nice cross into the box here for Chelsea. Cross comes in, and it's towards the near post, but it's headed back out. And now Chelsea player heads it back in, but Man City defender picks it up at the back and manages to relieve the pressure for Man City. And the ball is now up midway inside the City half, and it's gone out on this near side for a throw-in. So let's come back to the chat while we wait to see how that develops. Joey saying, sorry, Joey. Yes, sorry. Yes, absolutely. It's shocking, isn't it, that Portsmouth end up in that position. But we're seeing it with quite a lot of clubs in the lower leagues, mate. And it just proves, one thing it's proven is that this so-called fit and proper test that the EFL and FA have claimed is there to stop bad owners getting into football clubs is clearly not working. We've seen since they announced that a few years ago, how many clubs have we seen end up in all kinds of financial trouble because of bad ownership, and it continues to happen. So, like I said, for me, the EFL or the FA, whoever introduced this so-called fit and proper test, it's not doing what it's intended to do, and the EFL and the FA slow to react to make it do what it should be doing. I think sometimes they just spin out some notification and think that's good enough. A few words in a sentence will just appease fans, so to speak. So disappointing what we're seeing down at Portsmouth. But like Joey says, let's hope things do improve. And if not, I'm sure the Portsmouth fans will come out in the springtime and add pressure and let the club know exactly how they're feeling. City in possession now on this near side. As they bring the ball back into the centre of the park and now switch the play out to that far side, midway inside the Chelsea half of the field. Guys, if you're just joining us, please do drop your comments in the chat. It'd be great to hear from you. Also, consider subscribing if you're new. We are very much a new fan project, looking to build a channel for you guys, not for football clubs, not for the EFL, not for the FA. But for you guys, fans matter in football, and I want to build a channel that speaks up for that and speaks up for you guys. So if that sounds good to you, please do consider subscribing. At the minute, we're doing a lot of match watch-alongs to help fans find us and find out about us. But hopefully you guys will agree in the future. We've got some great ideas to push the channel forward into a whole new dimension once we reach the YouTube targets that we need. And like I say, wanting to build something for you guys. And if that sounds good, please do consider subscribing. So another opportunity for Man City, but they're not doing very well when they get forward, guys. A lot of their attempts on goal at the minute have been crosses into the box. And the Chelsea goalkeeper has done quite well cutting out a lot of them crosses. And it's meaning that Man City struggling to actually get any serious attempts on goal. But I expect that that's probably going to improve as the game continues. Rich Poe Sport is saying, evening, Fanden. Can I join you in the second half? If not, I'm happy supporting from the text stands here. Yeah, no worries, mate. No worries. If Stevie, if you could, mate, can you put the link in the chat if it's not too much trouble? If you could, Stevie, so that Richard can join us in the second half. And cross comes in from Man City on that far side, but I think it was a cross. Sorry, guys, cross/chip into the box, but it goes out on that on this near side. Sorry, and that'll be a free kick to Chelsea. But yeah, I will. Yeah, no worries, Richard. Rich Paul Sports. I will ask Stevie to add the link in the chat when he gets a minute, and you should be able to join me from there. Thanks for that, mate. Great to see you as well, by the way. Rich Paul Sports. PFC_DY4 is Dylan. Thank you, mate. No worries, mate. No worries. Like I say, I want to see you guys enjoying your football. Disappointing what's going on at Pompey. But like I say, mate, I think it's going to come to a head at some point with everything that's been going on over the last couple of years at Portsmouth. I think it is going to come to a head at some point. And like I say, it's a bit difficult for me to understand the bigger picture at the minute because I'm getting. Obviously, you've been telling me a lot about the club, but also some other Portsmouth fans I've been talking to are telling me what their opinions are about what's going on at the club as well, which is kind of giving me a bit of a mixed bag of what's going on at the club. So I need to, like I say, try and get a better understanding of that. As soon as I get a bit of time free to do some research, I will certainly do that. But a lot to cover at the minute. With being back in the normal working week. Trying to do the match watch alongs, and also the transfer window has opened as well. So hopefully we'll find some time to look at what's going on with Portsmouth to get a better understanding. But like I said, just a bit difficult for my time restrictions at the minute, mate. So, but I will look into it as soon as I can find a bit of free time to actually do the research. But yeah, good to see you, Dylan. Thank you very much for that, mate. Kieran Williams, how's it going, mate? Welcome to the stream. Great to have you with us, mate. Always a pleasure. Kieran Williams saying, how's it going, guys? Hoping for a draw. A lot of you guys are hoping for a draw in this one tonight, which is understandable. I'm presuming you're hoping for a draw relevant to your own clubs, or just that you maybe don't want to see these two clubs in the title race this season. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think a lot of fans will be hoping that Man City or Chelsea drop points in this one to benefit other teams that are pushing for some success this Premier League season. Ball out on that far side for Chelsea, but it's gone out for a throw-in from a misplaced pass. Good pass with the right intention, but just too much pace on the ball. And I think it's Pulisic on that far side. No, sorry, Pulisic went off, didn't he? I can't see the player who is on that far side, but like I said, just a bit too much pace on the ball, and he was unable to intercept it. But But yeah, good shout, Kieran. Let us know if you've got a score prediction, mate. It'd be great to hear from you. If you're in that regard, if you've got a score prediction, mate, thank you. And great to see you, mate. Happy New Year. I've not already said it. And like I say, hopefully you are doing well. Now we're back in the normal grind of the new year. Great opportunity there for Chelsea trying to break into the box, but it was some good thought behind that. But Man City managing to cut it out. And now City looking to try and build some momentum on this near side, but Chelsea return the favour, so to speak, and they cut out the ball, and now they're back in possession, halfway inside their own half of the pitch, as they now cut the ball back to the goalkeeper, looking to probably looking to pull Man City out of their own half to create some space. That's a poor effort from Chelsea. Chelsea just tried to move the ball up the field, and one of the Chelsea players has basically run towards the player in possession to intercept it, and he's just flicked it on without looking and flicked it onto nobody, which meant that Man City was able to pick up possession. I don't see why we see players doing this fancy football stuff, trying to be smart with clever passes like that, and they don't look up. Because it might look good in theory, but when it doesn't come off and you end up giving the ball away cheaply like that to the opposition, then it actually makes what should be nice, fancy football, it actually makes it look stupid. So it's amazing, actually, how many plays. City into the box, and a good attempt there from City on this. Breaking into the box probably on this near side of the half circle, but under pressure from Chelsea defenders, and Haaland just unable to get control of it there, and he ends up his first touch is a bit harsh, and it goes I think it goes out high and wide of the goal there. So I would say that's first proper opportunity for City breaking into the box. Most of the other opportunities early on have been crosses, and like I said, the majority of the crosses they have managed to get in the Chelsea box have been cut out by the goalkeeper. Ball's back in play now, guys. Chelsea in possession inside their own half of the pitch, as they now pass the ball out to that far side and look to move up the field. And they've done just that, but their ball up the field is knocked onto the striker, Aubameyang, but unfortunately he was surrounded by two Man City players, and they managed to cut out the possession. And now City build again on from their perspective down this near side. But thanks for that, Kieran, mate. Great to have you involved tonight. Rich Bow Sports is saying, cast your mind back, everyone. What was your thoughts at the Graham Potter appointment? Well, it's personally myself, mate. I think it was good to see a new manager getting an opportunity at one of the bigger, or much should I say, more successful clubs. But I'm not impressed with the pressure I'm seeing piled on him at the minute. When you stick a new manager that's new to this kind of pressure, surely you've got to give him a bit of time to get his ideas across, and also the players should be showing him a certain amount of respect. Disappointing to see players not necessarily getting on board with his ideas when he's only been in the job a couple of months. But we'll have to see how that one develops. But to be honest, I'm expecting that Graham Potter might be sacked from the Chelsea job within 12 months of him getting it, simply because there's no patience from clubs like this. They just expect you to keep winning like you're a machine, and that's not how the real world works. You have to accept that sometimes you are going to have to go backwards to move forwards. And as long as you have clubs like Chelsea that don't understand that, I know it has served them well in the past with making success, but that's only served them well in the past with the right managers in charge. When you bring a manager in like Graham Potter, who's new to the top echelons of the Premier League, shall we say, it's going to take him a little bit of time to adjust to the pressure and the expectation, as well as probably the different way Chelsea do things compared to Brighton. So yeah, we'll have to see how that one. But great question, Rich Bo Sports. It's a cracker, that, mate. Chelsea in possession, deep inside their own half at the minute. Like I say, Man City pressing from the front, and now it's gone out on that far side for a Man City throwing midway inside the Chelsea half of the pitch. So you're seeing that Chelsea struggling to get out their own half of the pitch on some occasions because of that that high press from Man City. Dylan is saying, nice jumper, mate. Jumper. Are you referring to the T-shirt, the Van Den T-shirt? I'm not sure. I'm not actually wearing a jumper tonight, mate. I'm wearing a T-shirt. Well, it's long sleeve T-shirt, whatever you want to call it. But yeah. But thanks for that, Dylan. Maybe it looks like a jumper to you guys on the channel. So it's actually not. It's a long sleeve T-shirt. Opportunity for Chelsea into the box, but it's cut out by the goalkeeper. Cross coming into the box. Cross/shot. But it's directly at the Manchester City, who was able to claim possession and get Man City back on the move up the other end of the field. But yeah, thanks for that, Dylan. Appreciate it, mate. Rich Poe Sports is saying 15 watching, but only 5 likes. Come on, good people, support the fan channel. Absolutely, thanks for that, Richard. Yeah, I can see 21 people watching. Guys, please do hit that like button. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it's only one stream. We're doing a lot of streams, so just that little bit of help to hit that like button just can help us get more visibility in the YouTube community. And considering we are still a very new channel, it's very much helpful if you guys can hit that like button to help us get better visibility in the YouTube community. Like you say, guys, you got to remember we're competing with channels that have got thousands and thousands of regular watchers. So any help from you guys hitting that like button will help the channel moving forward. So please do consider hitting that like button. Like I say, costs you nothing, guys. Absolutely nothing. You won't get no spam or nothing like that just from hitting the like button. All the like button is just to show a little bit of support to our channel. So it would really be appreciated if you could. So yeah, thanks for that, Richard. Rich Post Sports, really appreciate you pointing that out. I can't see how many likes there is. I can only see through the stream how many people are watching. But like I say, not everybody wants to always hit the like button. I don't like asking all the time, guys. Believe me, I hate it. If you watch my streams, you notice compared to a lot of other YouTube channels, I don't mention subscribing nowhere near as much as a lot of other YouTube channels, because we're here to talk football. Have to mention it sometimes because it's part of the YouTube thing that you have to do. So I'm just going to break off Chelsea now with a shot. Oh, and it's a beautiful shot. Ricochets off the post, but coming right from the edge of the box. That great opportunity for Chelsea. And now De Bruyne on the attack down this near side. He brings it back inside, but he's lost possession. And now with a shot from De Bruyne, but it's straight at the Chelsea goalkeeper. But yeah, that's what we want to see, innit, guys? End-to-end football. That was a really nice pattern of play from both teams there for that minute or so. Both creating chance on the opposition goal, and it went from end to end there for a minute or so, and that's what we want to see. 43, 44 minutes gone. Yeah, just coming up to 44 minutes gone. Still 0-0. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for that, Rich Bo Sports. Really do appreciate it. And guys, like I said, I don't want to keep mentioning about the like button and subscribe. So please do consider hitting that like, because like I said, I trust that you guys will support the channel where you can. And I don't want to keep mithering you and repeating the same things over and over when we're actually here to talk football and hear what you guys have got to say. But I will mention it when I can. But I try to keep it to as a minimum if possible. So yeah, thanks for that, Richard. City inside the box now, and a cross comes in, but it's cleared. It's blocked by the keeper, and now City managed to regain possession midway inside the Chelsea half, and they pass the ball out to this near side, and look to get back inside the box. And inside the box, I think it's Gundogan crossing it into the box there, and it's cleared by Chelsea. And now Chelsea managed to regain possession deep inside their own half, pressed by City, but City have got it back right close to the corner flag on this near side, and just passing it about. And now Chelsea looking to get back up the field as they pick up possession. It's switching possession from literally within a matter of 10 seconds here at the minute. City back in possession, and a shot comes in, or class. I'm not sure if that was cross slash shot slash cross, but it's gone out on this far side. I'm not sure if that's classed as a corner or throwing. It happened that fast. We are on the 45 minutes mark, guys. 2 minutes time added on for extra time. For added on time, sorry. And we're just coming up to a minute, so we've got a minute left, guys, before half time. So we're just seeing a clip of the managers at the minute. I'm just waiting to find out whether that was it was a goal kick, guys. So Chelsea goalkeeper, long ball up the field, and now City pick it up on this near side and move quickly down this near side. And a misplaced cross coming in, and it's straight to the Chelsea goalkeeper. But yeah, thank you very much, Rich Paul Sports. Really appreciated, mate. Thank you very much for that. Stephen Allen is saying, thanks, Rich Paul. Absolutely. Cheers, Stevie. Stevie, if you could, please. Oh, I see you've done it. Top man. Thanks for that, Stevie. Dylan is saying, PFC_DY4s. Dylan, have to hop off now, mate. Apologies. I couldn't stay for the whole stream. But going to spend some time with the family before getting an early night. Enjoy the game. Remember to like and subscribe. Absolutely nice one, Dylan. Thank you very much for coming, getting involved in the chat for the first half. Really, really appreciated, mate. And yeah, absolutely, you rest up. I know that quite an important year for you this year with your exams and stuff. So yeah. Go and spend a bit of quality time with the family, mate, and like you say, get rested up and recharge the batteries. Thank you very much, Dylan, and like I say, mate, enjoy the rest of your evening. Dribanga Hill, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Apologies, mate. Can you show match, please? No, mate. I'm sorry, I can't. The copyright rules don't allow me to do that. So I'm not allowed to show the match on YouTube. Nobody is. Nobody's allowed to show any games on YouTube apart from the companies that actually pay the rights to it. So apologies, mate. Sorry, can't share the match. But you, whatever part of the world you are in, you can look for companies that will provide the match for you. You have to pay out for it, unfortunately, mate. So sorry, unable to do that. Stephen Allen, thanks, Dylan. See you soon, mate. Absolutely nice one, Stevie. And like I said, Dylan, have a pleasant evening with your family and rest up, mate. See you soon. Stevie's saying, sorry, Dribianga, can't do that. It's copyright, mate. Absolutely. Like you say, it's like I said, guys, if we could share the game, of course we would. But most of you guys are well aware of the copyright rules. But for some reason, we always seem to get a random fan coming asking for it that doesn't seem to realise that there's all sorts of rules with regards to having match analytics on the channel and match stuff. So yeah, but I'm sure we'll have plenty more fans like that in the future. But yeah, thanks for that, Stevie. Appreciated, mate. Stevie has added the link, guys. So if you are interested to come on the channel and talk some football, have your opinions heard, there is the link. All you have to do is click it, and that will send you to the studio, and you can join me here to have your opinions heard by the Fanden community. So thanks for that, Stevie. I really appreciate it, mate. Kieran Williamson, I'm going for a 1-1. But think it will be 3-2 to City. Yeah, that's a good shout, mate. It's going to be. Hopefully, we're going to have some goals in this one because at the minute it's 0-0. So let's hope, fingers crossed, we do have some goals in the second half of the game to make it a bit more interesting. It was just starting to heat up a little bit there as we was getting towards the end of the first half. Both teams started to create a bit more intensity and a bit more pressure and a bit more speed, which resulted in the end, the second half. At the end of the second half, becoming a lot more interesting. So let's hope both teams come out in the second half and play the same way, so that it makes the game a bit more enjoyable to watch. But yeah, that's a good shout, Kieran. With a 1-1, I think a lot of us are going for a draw tonight. What did I say? Did I say? I can't remember. I think I went for a draw. I'm not sure if I said a score prediction at the start, but I think I did. Did say a draw was more than likely between these two teams. They're quite closely matched, aren't they? But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either if Kieran was absolutely spot on with the 3-1 prediction for City, because as we've seen, guys. When City get the scoring boots on, sometimes they can go 60, 70 minutes without scoring a goal, and then suddenly they find their scoring boots and they score a hatful. So Kieran's predictions are potentially doable and achievable. So yeah, like so, let's see how it goes. But thank you very much for that, Kieran. Good score prediction there, mate. Rich Pro Sport is saying, question: Do you play fantasy football league for Den? Anyone? What's the benefits in your opinion? I don't play fantasy football. I've heard plenty of people talking about it, but with the amount of work I've got on my plate at the minute with my normal job and doing YouTube, I don't think I'd have the time to do it even if I wanted to, mate. So. Maybe something we can look into in the future when the channel's further along. But right now, no, I don't do fantasy Premier League or fantasy football league at the moment. But yeah, thanks for that, Rich Po Sports. So I'm just watching the analysis here, guys. Just wondering whether the two players for Chelsea are going to have much of an impact on this game. They managed to get through that first half with it, but it's difficult to say, innit? It's only Chelsea fans that watch week in, week out that could really answer that question. How much those two players dropping out with injury is going to be a miss for Chelsea. If you're just joining us, guys, and you haven't seen the game, up to now, Chelsea in the first 20 minutes, unlucky with Raheem Sterling going off what looked like a hamstring injury. And then within 10 minutes, Pulisic also going off the pitch with an injury. So two key players for Chelsea and going off the pitch with what looked like quite concerning injuries that might keep them out for a length of time. But let's hope the substitutions or taking them off the field was precautionary, and fingers crossed they might make a speedy recovery through not pushing themselves to do more than they're able to. But yeah, like I said, guys, I've got to say both teams look good in this first half. To be honest, there's not much to choose for the two teams, and what I'm also noticing that is we're not seeing the normal long spells of possession that we associate with Manchester City. I'm sure you guys have seen plenty of City. Most of us have, and one way they do play quite regular is long spells of possession. It's kind of what they do to tire out teams. But in this game, We've not seen that. We've not seen them. It's that long spells of possession, and Chelsea have been able to get a bit of a decent amount of possession themselves. And like I say, just very unusual because a lot of the games that we see, maybe Chelsea just, maybe Manchester City, maybe a bit of fatigue. I'm not sure through the demands of the World Cup and quite a few of their players traveling and stuff like that. So a bit unusual, but let's see how it develops in the future. So, guys, we're going to be. We're going to be joined by Richard. It's going to come and join us now on the channel, so that should be good. Hopefully, that will bring a new aspect. And here he is. Welcome to the show, Richard. Great to see you with us, mate. How's it going, mate?
Seasons greetings, football fan. Then seasons greetings to one and all. A happy New Year 2023 for all in the building. How are you doing, football fan? Then
I'm good, thanks, mate. It's great to have you with us. All the best to you for the 2022 2023. Sorry, and hopefully it's a good year for you, mate. What have you been thinking of the game so far in the new year?
Well, it's a really interesting one on several levels. Just to lay my cards on the table, one and all, I am a Arsenal fan and a Brazilian fan. As you can tell by the top, it's been a poignant and turbulent few weeks as a Brazilian fan, of course, watching the World Cup from Qatar and Brazil's interesting tournament, to say the least. And of course, as a Gunners fan, I am highly delighted, cannot applaud the squad and the whole organization highly enough for their season's campaign. Absolutely outstanding. So this game tonight, I do play football fantasy league, Premier League, and I've actually got a few people involved in this game tonight between Chelsea and Manchester City, and I'm hoping for a scoreless draw. Ideally, I've got Azri Belaga in goal and Thiago Silva in defence. Meanwhile, I've got Manchester City's outstanding forward Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne, that mercurial midfield maestro in the centre of the park for Manchester City. So an interesting game. I'm delighted if it remains 0-0. That's going to be a fair result, fantasy football wise, and as a Gunners fan.
Cool. Well, I'd like to say, mate, I've never tried the fantasy football thing, so I don't know an awful lot about it. I'm actually you just caught me by surprise there, because I didn't actually realise that you was a Brazil fan. I thought you was a Jamaican fan.
Good man, Fanden. Good fat man. Let me just add some clarity. Good man. Good to join you on the show, and I hope that I'll be able to join you as and when possible. You're doing a fantastic job. Love the passion, love the neutrality, love the balance, and the fact that you have not called me out and attacked me as some people would, having a Seleção Brazil fans shirt on, whilst at the same time being a fan of Jamaica. I am glad that you have again showed that level, even-keeled mind that you have. Yes, I am a Jamaican fan, just to be clear, Fanden. I joined that particular bandwagon, because I've always, of course, supported and encouraged and want the best for Jamaica, as my parents come from Jamaica. And Jamaica as a football team have not been pulling up trees over the years. But following that turbulent 2020 European Championships, when that disgraceful social media reaction in some circles following the penalty misses by certain England players, as you know, Fanden, I then started to reflect and look at other options and opportunities for players with Caribbean heritage and Jamaican heritage in particular. That's when I decided to investigate and check out what was going on Jamrock in Jamaica. And from then, I've been particularly interested and been a keen supporter of the Reggae Boys, as they are, excuse me, known. So yes, I have been a recent convert to the Jamaican national team and follow them as closely as I can. But Brazil has been a passion from 1982. Zico, Socrates, Junior, Falcao, the list goes on. Eder, a wonderful team from 1982, and I've been following Brazil ever since on their up and down journey. It's a wonderful ride, and of course, the one and only Pele has left a living legacy, energy still burning today, despite his physical passing. His legacy is 1, 2, 3, count them, World Cup victories with the Seleção live on, indelibly printed into the annals of history. Football fan then, I am a Jamaican fan, I am a Brazilian fan, and above all, I'm a football fan. Hence why I'm here on Football Fan Den.
Awesome. Well, obviously, like I say, I want to speak to you in a second about Arsenal. Let's just involve the guys in the chat, because I can see a few of them saying hello and welcoming you to the show. So Stevie is saying, hi, Richard, Happy New Year. Thank you very much for that, Stevie. Really appreciate it. And also Joey saying, hello, Richard. Bet you're buzzing with Arsenal at the moment.
No doubt, absolutely. I've heard, especially as the season was progressing, some Arsenal fans, certain sections, were still doubting the merits of Arteta, doubting that Arsenal could get the job done with a Mikel Arteta at the helm. Of course, rewind 12 months previously, a little more maybe. Arsenal, 3 games played, 3 games lost. Rock bottom of the Premier League. Opening game against Brentford, lost unceremoniously. We've seen Brentford go on to perform fabulously in the Premier League. Of course, disposing of Liverpool 3-1 earlier in the week. And we can't take them as any mugs at all. But Arsenal were in dire straits a little more than a year ago. Fast forward, patience, as you have well identified, fan then. I wonder if the viewers and subscribers share that opinion. Patience, which is not at a premium in today's footballing culture, is sometimes needed. Southampton, for example, they've got a gentleman, I think Nathan Jones, recently into the hot seat at Southampton. They're already saying that you don't know what you're doing, get him out. Mind you, that's coming from the fans. Football fan then, viewers and subscribers, what's your take on managers being brought in and then kicked out before they've barely got their feet under the table? Is that de rigueur? Is that right? Or should patience be given its fair wind in this current climate? Speak, sir, speak!
Well, unfortunately, mate, from my perspective, I think it's the modern football world we live in, where people a lot, as we see, Richard, a lot of fans supporting the big clubs that have the most success. We even, one thing that really annoys me in the modern game is seeing fans that follow players, support a club based on what players. Like, for example, one particular player that comes to mind is Ronaldo. There is so many fans that just follow Ronaldo. They don't support a club. They just follow Ronaldo. Now, that to me is not being a real football fan. That's a glory hunter. That's somebody that's just wanting to jump on the bandwagon because he's a successful player and they want to be involved in. And to me, it's an absolute disgrace, because it's not a true football fan. I'm not saying that you cannot appreciate a top quality player like Ronaldo, but first and foremost, you should love the game. Love the game. Appreciate everybody that contributes to the game. Don't just go on social media and paying homage and worshipping just one player and show absolutely no consideration to other players and other aspects of the game. For me, it's shocking, but it's the world we live in now, Richard. We're having a lot more, and clubs are encouraging it. That's the frustrating thing as well. Clubs are encouraging this thinking, this mindset of instant success. You only have to look at you could look at so many clubs and analyze it, but one club that comes to mind right now is Manchester United. We all know that they're one of the richest clubs, or used to be one of the richest clubs in the world. They've got a massive fan base. But the United fan, as much as the problems with the Glazers are right and the fans are right to complain about it, sometimes when I see the United fans come out criticising what's going on at the club, it's like, hang on a minute, do you actually recognise there is another team on the pitch that also wants success? You know, you think the way they react, sometimes it's like they've got a right to it just because they're Man United. And it's like you're showing so much disrespect to the opposition because you're not accepting that they are going to come and they are going to try and compete. That is football. That is why it's designed for two teams to compete against each other. So that's probably a great example that I can think of off the top of my head with reference to what you're saying. But yeah, like you say, Richard, it's becoming, it's spoiling the game. It is spoiling the game because you're now having it rubbing off on owners where they are actually starting to think that they can buy a football club, and just because it's got big resources, deep pockets, that automatically means instant success. Well, it doesn't. It takes somebody within that club with the brain power to set up a management structure, a coaching structure, and a player structure that will lead that club to success. And I think it feels like sometimes some of these clubs like Chelsea and stuff like that, they just chuck a load of money at it and that's it. Right, success must come because we've spent X amount of money. That doesn't matter. Look at QPR and the amount of crazy money that they spent. Did that guarantee them instant success? No, all that guaranteed them was relegation because they didn't do their due diligence to make sure that they were spending that money in the right places. So there's that. I'm not, like I said, mate, not sure if that answers your question, but
no. I'm glad that you're articulating yourself as you are, fan. Then I mean, it's uncomfortable in some circles. And that's one of the reasons that I've joined the show and thoroughly support you in your endeavor to get this channel up and running consistently. So please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Good people who are watching this broadcast. I mean, the culture that football is currently played in, it's you could call it toxic, or you could call it, well, look, you're paying the big bucks. Of course, you want success. The games are coming thick and fast, and the fans. Do you think that the fans need, dare I say, re-educating, to take a little time to appreciate how difficult it is to actually bring success to a club, and maybe the fans need to appreciate the contact and the relationship that a club has to its community or communities. It's not all about silverware, and football, as you rightly said, it's not a case of you're entitled to it. You've got to earn it, and you're going to have opponents who are trying to do exactly what your team is trying to do. There's nothing given in this game. Arsenal famously have fans. I must say, I salute them. I'm proud to be an Arsenal fan in that the fans, when asked, is this your year? Are you going to win it? One game at a time. Feel confident, bring your A game. If it's not your A game, bring your B game, your B minus game. What you need to do is compete, do yourself justice, and do the fans, family and friends justice. And after that, you can do no more. Respect your opposition, do the best you can. If you're feeling in a good place, battle, fight, play classy football, and let the dice fall where they may. Don't go boasting about, yes, this title's ours. We're barely halfway through the season. Show a little dignity, a little respect for your opponents. Absolutely, fan then.
Yeah, that is, I've got to agree with that, mate. Absolutely. Sorry to just break off for the conversation for a second. Guys, just to let you know, the game has restarted. We're 51 and a half minutes in, and Man City have just had a spell of possession, and they're looking like they've come out with a bit more of motivated this half. Looks like Pep's Guardiola has definitely got into the players, and they're showing that with the way that they've started this second half. And Chelsea's struggling to get out of their own half early on in this second half. Kieran, Williams is saying Glazers out. Obviously, responding to what we were talking about and my comparison with Man United. And absolutely, Kieran, I've got to 1000% agree with you. Glazers out. Glazers are not good for football. I am right behind the Manchester United fan community with wanting the Glazers out. I totally am, mate. But I was making the example because of the achievements in the years gone by from Manchester United. Some sections of the Manchester United supporters automatically think that that gives them a God-given right to success, and it doesn't work like that. So I'm not criticising the fans for protesting or wanting the Glazers out. I absolutely am right behind the fans with that. But like I said, just to touch on it, some fans do sometimes underestimate that or don't take into account that every team you take the field to wants success as well. And especially against a club like Manchester United, it's a memorable victory for a lesser club. It's a very memorable victory if they can get a win. Also, guys, I'm going to get Richard to add his link in the chat in a minute, just to his channel, which is Rich Po Sports. So please do go over there to his channel and show some support if you don't mind, guys. I'm sure he would really appreciate that. Obviously, Richard is also trying to build his own channel as well around his own personal stuff going on. So any support you guys can give, I'm sure would be massively appreciated. So, Richard, if you could, mate, just add your link. I haven't got it to hand at the minute, mate. Otherwise, I would do it myself. So if it's not too much trouble, just drop it in the chat there. And hopefully some of the guys will head over to your channel and drop you a subscribe in some support. Joey is saying not a United fan, but I completely agree, Kieran. They had damaged a great club. So obviously some of the guys in the chat, mate, responding to what we're saying about Arsenal. But I just sorry about United. But I just wanted to touch on Arsenal before I come back to you. Arsenal is a club that I hold in high regard. But I watched them the other day and I was really disappointed, mate. And I want to know your opinion as an Arsenal fan. I seen Arsenal falling over the other day, trying to claim fouls and penalties in the last 10, 15 minutes of that game against Newcastle. And I thought it was really poor. I thought it was really poor. And the reason I thought it was really poor is because I've seen Arsenal complain and Arsenal fans complain about this sort of stuff going against them, against other teams like Man City, Chelsea, and saying that they're not getting the rub of the green, the referees against them, that they're trying to cheat to get an edge. And I saw Arsenal doing exactly the same thing against Arsenal in that last 15, 20 minutes. Against Newcastle in that last 15, 20 minutes. Now, I'm not saying all the foul claims were wrong or anything, but I did notice there was a few times a couple of players went over. It was soft tackles. Yeah, and I'm not, you must have watched the game yourself for being an Arsenal fan. And in that last 10 minutes, there was about 4 claims for penalties. And there's no way that you're going through all that game and not had next to no penalties. And then all of a sudden in the last 10 minutes, there is all them penalty claims from Arsenal. And I was disappointed because, like I say, Arsenal for me is a club that I hold in high regard. And when I see them playing and some of the complaints they've had in the past, I've had sympathy for them. But I was really disappointed to see Arsenal doing exactly what they regularly complain happens to them, doing it against Newcastle. So I'd love to know your thoughts on that, Richard, if you could, mate. And don't forget, like I say, please do add your link in the chat so the guys can go over and check your channel out, mate, if you could.
Thank you very much, Fanden. I have put Rich Post Sports in our private chat. I didn't want to move. Yeah, I didn't want to move away from the conversation here. So by all means, transfer and some subsequent details. But if you just type in Rich Post Sports, RICHPO Sports, you'll be able to get me. I've been doing a lot of shorts recently, but I'll be doing some.
Are you still there, mate?
Sport.
You all right, mate? Sorry, you seem to have lost connection with you there for a second, mate. You still there? Sorry about that, guys. We seem to have lost Richard for a second. Are you still there, mate?
I am. Can you see me? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back with us now, mate.
My apologies. I think it's my internet on this side. My apologies. Sincere apologies. Yes, I'm doing shorts at the moment, and I'll be doing longer broadcasts on matters footballing, ostensibly regarding Arsenal and the Premier League. But regarding the Arsenal Newcastle game, I must say, cards on the table. I was not quite pleasantly surprised. I was very surprised at the 0-0 scoreline. I expected, because most of the encounters between Arsenal and Newcastle over the recent years have always produced goals. I expected goals one way or the other, and expected Arsenal maybe to come out with a 2-1 victory. To see a 0-0, I think that was testimony to the fact that, one, the stakes are high, and two, the stakes are high. Yes, I said it twice. Newcastle are flying high. They are pressing for a place in the Champions League, and who knows, maybe more. Arsenal are in a fantastic position, a position they've not found themselves in for many years. They're on the cusp of being given a great opportunity by themselves to lift a Premier League title. It's not going to be easy. Far from it. We've barely reached the halfway mark. So this was a key game. Every game is key, but this was against a close rival, first against third. I can imagine the pressures were high. It's new territory to Mikel Arteta. Pep Guardiola's already been engaging in the mind games with Arteta in the knowledge that Arsenal are a viable, clear and present danger to his Man City team. By the way, what's the score and what's happening? Because Man City, if it's still 0-0, they seem to be feeling the pressure. So, it's a really squeaky bums time for many a team at the moment. Arteta, from what I heard though, was saying that he was a little disappointed, in fact, very disappointed, at least a couple of penalty decisions at home not going their way. I've yet to see the highlights. I will be watching the highlights this evening, safe in the knowledge that Arsenal picked up another point, which brings them closer to achieving their ultimate dream, which is of finishing top of the table at the end of the season. It's not over until it's over. One game at a time, but the stakes were high. That's what I'm saying for football fan then. I think after the game I heard Eddie Howe say that Arteta is a fine manager, and I'm sure that they've got plenty of mutual respect for each other, their teams, and the game. Sometimes things are said, decisions are made by the referee, and people can get animated, disappointed. But at the end of the day, I think when you've got two teams going at it, leaving it on the pitch, sometimes tempers can rise, opinions can be exchanged, decisions can be shouted at from the touchlines, but it's called the passion of the game. So I say steady, take it with a pinch of salt, and know that overall, Arsenal, tackling a bit of a cold here. Overall, Arsenal are bringing a quality game to the Premier League this season, playing quality football. They don't need, I agree with you, Fande, they don't need to resort to trying to dive, simulate, beg, scrape for penalty decisions. Hopefully that's not the case. And I'm glad that the referee held firm and did not give penalties, which by your description were not penalties. What's the scoreline at Stamford Bridge? Here, sir, what's the time on the clock? Because that is our premier key concern tonight. I'm looking for a 0-0 score draw. Is it still 0-0, Van Den?
It is still 0-0. It's 61 minutes gone. We just had we're having Man City really in the ascendancy now, trying to turn the screw. They've got Chelsea kind of boxed in a bit. Chelsea did just get a break up the other end of the field, and it was actually a last-ditch defending from Man City. The keeper actually came out to try and get the ball, and the on-running attacking player clattered into him. So that was quite heated. Got the, as I can hear from in the background, got the fans quite animated as well. But yeah, at the minute, definitely Man City looking the more likely to get the goal. But that's only based on possession, and as we know, possession doesn't always count. and all it takes is one good counter attack from Chelsea, and they could take the lead. Sorry. They could take the lead from literally from a counter attack, because we know that they're good enough to do that. But like I say, at the minute, at the just 62 minutes gone now, and like I say, still 0-0. But City having massive amounts of possession now in this second half.
Fandon, I'm glad that you made mention of that, because something's just come to my mind regarding statistics. You've been a fan of football for many, many years and decades, no doubt. When it comes to football statistics, have you noticed it's pretty noticeable to many fans, I'd suggest, that whole idea about possession statistics. Being a Jamaican fan, oftentimes after a game, you'll see the stats. Jamaica may have 33% possession as opposed to the opponent.
Sorry, mate. Sorry to cut in. We've got a goal for Manchester City. Manchester City cross coming in from the near side, and it's slotted in at the back post. And I think it was Gundogan got to that. I'm not sure. It happened that quickly. But yeah, like I say, it was coming with the amount of possession and pressing coming from Man City. I'm just trying to wait for the replay so we can see exactly who actually scored that goal. Because, like I say, sometimes it's difficult to actually identify it when it's at full pace. But no, sorry, it wasn't. It was just bear me a second. I thought it was Gundogan at the back post then, but it wasn't. I think it was Mahrez. I always get confused with both of Mahrez and Gundogan. At a distance, they look very similar. But yeah, cross came in from this near side, provided De Bruyne moving down the midfield, passed it out to this near side, and then it was crossed straight into the box, right in front of goal, goes straight across the face of goal, and it's Mahrez that taps it in at the back post under pressure from a Chelsea defender. So yeah, it's now Chelsea 0, Man City 1, 64 minutes gone. So just before I bring you back in, Richard, I'm just going to see what some of the guys are saying in the chat. Kieran Williams is saying the Glazers are the only owners at the top club taking money out of the club for their own gain. Yeah, that's absolutely right, mate. And that is why I am 1,000% behind Man United fans to get the Glazers out. But like I say, we weren't particularly meaning to get onto the Glazer topic tonight, mate. I was just using it as an example earlier to just point out how impatient that some fans of some fan bases can be. So yeah, but no, like I say, Kieran, here on Fandent, we are 1,000% behind fans trying to get the Glazers out. Kieran also saying, Joey's bang on, hashtag facts. Right, no worries, mate. Well, if you guys got any comments or any questions you want to chuck at Richard while he's with us, Richard joining us from Rich Post Sports. Obviously, as you guys know that join regular, a lot of their streams at the moment are with me on my own, but we've got a special guest tonight, Rich Post Sports, Richard, joining us. So if you guys have got any particular questions you want to fire at Richard, now's your opportunity to do it. Kieran Williams is saying City scored. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that, Kieran. We just caught that, but appreciate you keeping us informed there with us being a little distracted with the conversation. But like I say, guys, we want you to feel just as comfortable to come on the channel as Richard is. Joey is saying, have they... have they? My TV has a delay. Right. Yeah, no worries, mate. Yeah, they did. Don't worry. I've experienced that delay problem myself on previous streams. So no particular questions for you at the moment, Richard. But yeah, like I say, with regards to Arsenal and the title race, it's fantastic to see you guys up there this season. Like I say, I think that was all the more so where I was a little bit disappointed with what I saw from Arsenal the other day, because like I say, from my point of view, I've always held Arsenal up in high regard. And believe me, I say that loosely because I'm a Northern lad, mate. I'm English, but I'm a Northern lad. And if you know anything about England, you'll know that there's normally that north-south divide where a lot of northerners won't very often appreciate southern clubs. So I say that in all honesty, but and I have a little bit of that aspect myself sometimes. Not to any not to any ridiculous lengths or anything like that, but it's not that I don't respect clubs down south. I totally do. It's just obviously when it comes to seeing results coming in, you're always looking for the northern teams to just get the edge.
Against the southern softies, is that what you're saying?
I never said that, mate. I never said that. But if you want to, I'll not disagree with you.
My goodness me. Keep your eye on that game, fan, then. I'm sure that the viewers and subscribers are keen to follow your watch along of the game. And then I'll get back to that issue about possession football. Are you a fan of possession football? 70 versus 30%. I mean, Brentford against Liverpool, apparently they had something like 28% maybe possession versus 72 for Liverpool. And yet Liverpool lost 3-1. I mean, it's a bit hard to stomach for some fans. Is it for you? 72% possession. That sounds brilliant on paper, but 3-1 scorelines. I mean, is that your cup of tea?
No, not at all. I'm not. As our good friend JD from IMAX likes to point out, he thinks I hate Manchester City. It's just that it's not that I hate I do not hate Manchester City at all. I'm just not a very big fan of their style of play for that reason. Because I am not. If there's a style of play, I'm a Bolton fan, mate. I'm a Bolton fan. You watch Bolton now, Bolton play, and that gives you a clue the kind of football I like. It's like, you know, when Bolton was in the Premier League, you probably remember, you're old enough to remember, how did Bolton play football? Yeah, exactly. Kevin Davis, Nolan, that style of football. Hard-working, grunt work, no nonsense, get in the face of your opposition, make life difficult for them. Don't worry about the possession stats. Just lump it forward if you need to and get it in the box and create havoc. That is my kind of football. I'm not saying I like the long ball football, but I love hard-working players like James Milner that do the dirty work of the football, the stuff that goes under the radar, the stuff that doesn't get appreciated, like Fabinho at Liverpool. Absolutely. I admire that player so much because to me, he's a breath of fresh air. It's been, you know yourself, if you're a Brazil fan, you know the Brazilian style of play he's playing the complete opposite. It's the complete opposite how Fabinho and Firmino are playing at Liverpool to how traditionally Brazil would play. And I am absolutely loving every minute of seeing them two players play for Liverpool because they are completely playing the opposite to how you would expect a Brazilian player to play. And they are making it they're making that count as well. They're having such an impact with the way they're playing, especially Firmino up front. Liverpool fans, I think, don't always appreciate the hard work that he puts in. He might not be on the score sheet every week, but the work rate that he puts in up front, closing spaces, prepared to sacrifice himself to lay the ball on for other players so that other players can get into the box and create goal-scoring opportunities. That is a team player, a player that's prepared to put the hard work in. Another player that's goes under the radar, unappreciated. I've forgotten his name. As usual, I'm always particularly bad with the names. Jordan Henderson. These are the kind of players I like that put in the work rate. You know, Roy Keane. Absolutely loved Roy Keane when he was playing. Oh man, if there's a player that describes how I love football, it's Roy Keane. Would put in the work, would get in people's faces, and you'd see him chomping. He looked like a horse chewing on hay when he was coming out of the tunnel at the start of a game with the stony face and focus and a desire and determination to go out there and let him know that he was on that pitch. He didn't care about the fancy style of the game. All he cared about was putting the hard work in and making sure that his team came out on top at the end of the game. That is the kind of football I like. So seeing all this fashionable football these days with next to no contact, players rolling around for something or nothing, and large portion of possessions from one-sided games, not for me. I can appreciate it. I can appreciate why other fans like it. I can watch it occasionally and admire it to a certain extent. But if you ask me what football I prefer to play, I think Klopp's got to have described it best. It's hard-working, heavy metal football.
Well, I'm sure that you've got some comments coming in regarding those comments, Fandan. And even if you don't, I'm sure that those watching will have points of views either agreeing with you or vehemently disagreeing. I must say, a point of order, as a point of order, I've got a world of time for central defensive midfield players such as Roy Keane, though one of the finest players that I've seen in the Premier League. That tackle, and I think you know the one I'm talking about, that I say tackle, you could call it an assault. To this day, I find it difficult to watch it. I've refused to watch it. Too atrocious, too horrific. I think you know the tackle I'm referring to. That was the major blot on the Keane landscape where football is concerned. That was out of order, above the line, and I'm sure that it would be something that you would concur with 100%. If not, by all means, let me and the fans know. I'd like to add, as a Seleção fan, I've seen the likes of Dunga for Brazil, the 1994 World Cup winning captain, played for Stuttgart and, of course, represented Brazil as they lifted the trophy in the United States of America. Today, Casemiro of formerly Real Madrid and now of Manchester United, wonderful player, does the hard work, the unseen work, as you said, was having a wonderful tournament. In 2018, because of his suspension, in came Fernandinho, a former Man City player, wasn't quite up to the task. Belgium, with Kevin De Bruyne and Lukaku, went on to beat Brazil in one of the games of 2018 in Russia, 2-1. Casemiro was having a wonderful tournament in Qatar. Unfortunate to be tackling a Luka Modric, gave away possession and a counter-attack out of the blue. Another game of statistics. Brazil, around 11 shots on target. No goals scored in regulation time. Meanwhile, Croatia have a total of 1 shot, if I'm not mistaken, in an entire match on target. It happened to be the equalizer in the second half of extra time. Imagine that. 11 shots on target against the 1 solitary strike, and Brazil go tumbling out of a World Cup. Football, such a game of drama. What is the score at the moment, football fan then? Is it still 1-0? Are Chelsea looking likely to get an equaliser?
It is still 1-0 to Manchester City. 74.5 minutes gone. Chelsea are getting more possession. There's been a couple of substitutions as well. Apologies, guys, not if I'm not keeping you up to date with the game as great as it was earlier. But like I say, it's great to have Richard on the channel, as Richard joining us. I've been calling out for you guys to come and do the same and come on the channel and share some football debate, because it helps us all understand each other's football knowledge and interests better. And I've got to say, Richard, your knowledge for historical football is very good, because I can remember a lot of historical events, but you seem to remember them in quite significant detail, which is commendable, mate. Commendable. Because, like I said, I can remember plenty of football incidents, but I'm not sure I remember them as intently with as much detail as you are referring to them. But guys, yeah, just to give you a quick updates on the game. We have got Man City currently in possession with the throw-in on this near side. Chelsea have managed to change their effort, if you like, because in the first 10 minutes of this second half, it was all very much Man City. But like I said, I think conceding that goal has kicked Chelsea into action, and they are doing a lot better now. They're getting some possession, although they have just give away a cheap foul. I'll come back to Richard in a minute. Just guys, if you are just joining us, please do consider subscribing, hit the like button, and drop your comments in the chat. We want to hear from you. Any thoughts you have on this game or any other football topics. Like I say, we're trying to build a very unique football channel here for fans. Joey is saying, laugh out loud, that's right, there's always been North and South banter. There's got to be, mate. Like I say, I've nothing against Southern clubs. Just as my own personal preference as a football fan. I always like to, well, before I did fandom, I always like to have a little bit of the north-south banter when the opportunity came. Joey's also saying, it's like years ago when players did shoulder barges and still stay on their feet. Absolutely, that's what I'm talking about, Joey. See, Joey gets it. Absolutely, that's what I'm talking about. These days, honest, if you just tickle them the wrong way, they go over.
It's interesting, I was watching some football. I mean, as a Brazilian fan, I think the GOAT debate is it's a bit touchy. It's difficult to compare eras. I think Pele, because of the 1, 2, 3, 3, count them 1, 2, 3 World Cups, outstanding. But in my lifetime of watching football, though a Brazilian fan, though I've seen the likes of Zico, Socrates, Neymar Jr., the best that I've seen is Diego Maradona. 1986 World Cup. The way this young man, barrel chest out, the way he withstood tackles, and I mean hard tackles, time after time, and dusted himself off, tried to stay on his feet as much as possible. He taught the likes of Neymar Jr., I must say, a lesson.
That doesn't
and footballers
me at all. You're talking to the wrong man about Maradona. Are you forgetting the hand of God?
Viewers and subscribers, we've got a clash. We've got a difference of opinions here, viewers and subscribers. It's North versus South, Fandom versus Rich Pro Sports. Which side of the fence are you going to fall on? Hello, trouble in town. Listen, one goal. It was a hand of God, quote unquote. A little bit of theatrics, a little bit of devil may care. But how about trying out that second goal against England for size? How about trying out those 2 sensational goals against Belgium for size? Football fan, then you're entitled to your opinion. It's a fact, and this is one of the reasons why I love listening to Football Fan Den and listening to yourself, Fan Den, because you don't mess about. You call a spade, you call it as you see it with all due respect, and that's why, if you agree or disagree, it's always box office and worth listening to, because you are calling it as you see it and not just for the sake of doing it. I say that Maradona is the best player that I've seen in my lifetime, though Lionel Messi pushes him very closely. But Maradona's aura and leadership, his achievements at small little town Napoli, when tackles and pitches were not the flower beds and carpets that they are today. I tell you what, that man, a magician, but goodness gracious me. Oh, he was not one for falling over at the first tickle and push. No. He would stand up, take it, dust himself down, and go again. For that, I have ultimate admiration, because he had to take his life in his hands at some times. When you've got that much skill, you're going to be a man targeted. He had so much skill that he could evade those vicious tackles and still show the world just what the beautiful game is all about. The hand of God, that's small fry in my book. That's a southerner talking. What says the northerner? Give us the score while you're at it.
Well, it's currently 1-0 to Man City still. 80 minutes gone, guys. We've had some crunching tackles while me and Richard have been talking. So referees had quite a bit to deal with. And Chelsea currently in possession, but they have pushed themselves back into this game after, like I say, Man City turning the screw a bit early in the second half. But yeah, in response to your comment with regards to Maradona, absolutely no question, he was a top player. And as a player, yes, I admired him. He was a great player. But I'm just saying, as an England fan, it's very difficult to admire a player that cheated, because he did cheat, and then came out and tried to defend it cheating. If he'd have just accepted it, I would be a bit more humble and a bit more happy to admire his talent. And I will acknowledge how talented he was, because he was an amazing, amazing player. But like I say, I think most England fans would struggle to get him to give him too much praise. The fact that he came out and tried to defend the hand of God when it was clearly obvious to everybody that it was blatant cheating. So yeah,
except the referee.
Well, obviously, yeah, but we also know, come on, mate, we've just watched the World Cup where there's questionable refereeing, so we know that they're not always the most neutral. Before I come back to Richard, though, guys, let's just quickly see what you guys are saying in the chat. Like I say, 82 minutes gone, guys, and at the minute, Chelsea having the majority of the possession now. City are in front. They're sitting back more in their own half. And but they are keeping Chelsea at bay by pressing from the front. As you can see currently, if you are watching the game, Chelsea deep inside their own half, trying to push up the field, but every time they move up the field, Man City quick to press them to close the space. Now we just had a long ball down the far side of the pitch, and yet again another issue for the referee to deal with two players coming together. And there's been quite a bit of that down that side, as obviously Chelsea trying to get some balls forward to try and get in behind Man City. But yeah, Joey is saying, just off topic, question for Richard. Do you feel Brazil had enough prep time before the World Cup? That is an absolutely excellent question, Joey, because I think that actually applies to not just Brazil, but a lot of teams, especially the European teams and the South American teams particularly, because they was actually playing the club season at the time. So, yeah, that's a great question. What do you think? What's your thoughts on that, Richard?
It's a great question. Let me give you the answer twofold. This first unique World Cup, a Winter World Cup, was a thumbs up for me in that most of the players participating were in league form, were in professional form mid-season. So they came in, fingers crossed they didn't have any injuries at that juncture, but they were football battle hardened and ready. So that was a plus. So I thought all teams are not going to be talking about fatigue, but they're going to be coming with their game faces on, which made it a much more intriguing World Cup. And I think it will be a World Cup that we may see again mid-season in the future at some point.
Sorry to interrupt. Just to touch on that, Richard. Sorry to interrupt. Even though we didn't see fatigue in the World Cup, are you not concerned that we now might see fatigue as those players return back to club football? Now, obviously, maybe not right now, but as the season progresses, we could see that fatigue kick in later in the toward the back end of the season, just through the demand and travel on fans, especially once the Champions League and UEFA Cup kick back in. Are you not concerned about that? And I would have thought, obviously, you would have some concern for that, maybe with Arsenal doing so well, that it could be something as simple as that could potentially be the difference between you guys getting over the finishing line and winning that title, and maybe just dropping a few points in the wrong places that might be what could cost you. Obviously, it's looking great for Arsenal at the minute, and deservedly so. But I'm just pointing out that the things that you're saying that was a plus for the World Cup could actually be a negative for the club for the remainder of the club season.
It's a very good point, Fanden. It's something that we're going to have to wait to see. As I said, this was a unique opportunity and experience for footballers and fans and clubs alike. I must say, we had at least two representatives, if I'm not mistaken, Gabriel Martinelli, who played a limited role. I think he was a little underused by Chiche, the Brazilian coach, but he didn't have extensive game time. I think he played in the game. He played in the game that they lost to Cameroon by a goal to nil, but they were safely through at that stage. But he didn't have to perform outside of training too hard. Gabriel Jesus unfortunately picked up a knee injury. He also started in that game against Cameroon, if I'm not mistaken. He was unfortunate to pick up that knee injury. It could have happened at any time. He's out for 3 months. So by way of fatigue, I don't think Arsenal will suffer too badly. Of course, there are players who will have got much more game time, and we will see as the season progresses exactly how things pan out. And of course, the clubs will check out exactly how the players pull up during the course of the season, and of course at the end of the season with Champions Leagues, Europa League, and of course their respective domestic leagues to negotiate this season. So no, it's. I thought it was a fantastic World Cup in terms of the opportunity for the players to go in and give it their all, and then to return to the club scene, re-energized for a second half of a season. But to answer, to answer the question about preparation, Brazil and Chiche in particular, for example, he was at pains to try and have the Brazilian Federation get Brazil more European opposition. That has been the bane of the Brazilian national team over the last few years, trying to get quality European opposition to play. COVID at times didn't help matters, so we had preparation time of Ghana and Tunisia in the lead up to Qatar. So that was a bit of a challenge. We won those games comfortably, looking very good. Of course, the South American qualifying campaign, unbeaten, record number of points, around 45 points, if I'm not mistaken. Unbeaten run, World Cup favourites, one of the leading favourites to lift the trophy. And, they had some starstruck combination of players, especially in the attack. But they had a sound defence. Thiago Silva, Marquinhos, Bruyne of Juventus, Alexandro, Danilo of Juventus, Alisson, Ederson in goal. You don't need much more than that. Dani Alves experience. But I think they made one or two mistakes along the way. Preparation was a challenge. Getting European opposition, to answer your question, was a challenge. And of course, who knocked them out? Croatia. Of course, in the group stages, they did well, very well against Serbia, who were not standing on ceremony, as you said earlier in the broadcast tonight. And then opponents are there to play. They see the likes of Brazil as opponents. It's two to tango. Brazil won the first game 2-0. Tough encounter. Neymar Jr. Got an ankle injury. He was being tackled time after time. I've got points about Neymar Jr. That's for another broadcast. They then went on to a 1-0 success over the Swiss. So 2 games played against European opposition. Pretty good teams, but not the top tier of European oppositions. When they finally met after meeting Korea and doing the Jogo Bonito dance, pigeon dance, with Chichi famously involved, I thought Brazil are coming to the party. My concern for Brazil, to be clear, crystal clear, was that Brazil may have had too many young players who may have seen this World Cup as potentially winnable, but if they'd won it, they may have come out thinking, or went into it thinking, well, this is pretty easy. It's no problem. What's the difficulty in winning the World Cup? World Cups are not easy to win, and this generation needed to suffer. That was my main point on Rich Pro Sports. In order for Brazil to win this World Cup, they would have to suffer, go through the deep waters and come out the other side. Argentina did it, having lost 2-1 to Saudi Arabia in the first game for the whole of the world to see. Messi and company had to regroup, dig in, find themselves, regroup, and Scaloni, the Argentinian manager, did a fantastic job in regrouping, coming through that group, beating Mexico, beating Poland, and going on to lift the World Cup. Brazil met a stubborn, experienced midfield trio, Brozovic, Kovacic, and of course that wonderful mercurial talent, the veteran Luka Modric. They ran the midfield, still didn't create as many chances as Brazil, but they kept their composure, never gave up, dug deep, suffered, and came through to get that last gasp, second half strike. Petkovic, goodness gracious me. Bruno Petkovic, a name for Northerners to rejoice in. Bruno, he bruised Brazil and ultimately went on to the penalty shootout where no Neymar was to be seen. They had to go through the deep waters and to suffer. Neymar came into it, arguably in the best form of his life at PSG. Sadly, he did not become the talisman that Brazil needed, but everyone's got to take their fair share of blame. But this is the beautiful game of football, and Brazil offer drama and a style, of football that is always worth watching. And with the likes of Casemiro, Bruno Guimaraes, Martinelli, Anthony, Rodrigo, Richarlison, They've got a good future to look forward to. So I'm looking forward to exactly how they go on. Ederson's in goal at Manchester City. Brazil's number 2, maybe the number 1, come the World Cup in America, Canada, and Mexico. What is the scoreline? Has Ederson kept a clean sheet for Manchester City? What's the time on the clock? Football fan Den.
It's we just got had 4 minutes added on to the final added on time, and it's 2 minutes into that added time, so 92 minutes gone. Still Man City 1, Chelsea 0, and Chelsea having the majority of the attacking intent, shall we say. They've managed to get in behind City a few times. They've also created plenty of pressure on the City box, but it's all kind of just a little bit hectic, you know, if you know what I mean, in their play. It's very being played at such pace. Obviously, City, as you know, so solid throughout the team that I think that the opportunities that Chelsea have been more snatched opportunities rather than clinical opportunities, if you get my meaning. But yeah, we're just in up to now 93rd, 93 minutes. We've got 1 minute remaining. Chelsea currently in possession on this near side, and they're looking to try and create that one more opportunity that might see them find the equaliser. But like I say, at the moment, Man City definitely keeping their players behind the ball as much as possible. And you can tell that because whenever they have picked up possession, they've got a long way to run forward to actually get into the Chelsea half. So it's kind of giving you an example that Chelsea are making Chelsea's press and possession is making City actually sit deep, which is very unusual for a City team. We don't normally see that City are forced to sit deep. But obviously, a 1-0 victory, it's not quite a victory yet, but a 1-0 lead is always marginal, really small margin to hold out. And we know from being experienced football fans that a game like this can literally be turned on its head in 30 seconds. And there goes the full-time whistle. So it's finished. Man City 1 and Chelsea 0. Chelsea just unable to find that killer pass that would, or that killer service that would get the equaliser, and kind of a little bit of a tactical job that Man City have done in the second half. From my opinion, anyway. You guys, if you're watching it, you might think differently. But yeah, for me, as soon as City come out in that second half, determined to get a goal. Once they finally got that goal, then they took the foot off the foot off the gas, and basically soaked up the pressure coming at them from Chelsea, and looked to try and hit them on the counter attack, and it worked pretty well. Like I say, Chelsea just not clinical. They had some great possession, some great attacking opportunities, but just not clinical. And that's going to pile a lot more pressure on the manager now, because obviously a lot of people are already starting to pile the pressure on Graham Potter, and it's so unfair to a manager that is so inexperienced at this level with this kind of expectation. Yes, we know that he did a great job at Brighton, but there was nowhere near the same pressure and expectation there. And it's really, I find it really disappointing from the football community that so many people are already starting to put the pressure on him when it's only been a limited time that he's been in charge. And he's also took the job partway through the season as well. So it's not like he's had a summer to get his ideas into the players, things like that. So, but yeah, it's going to pile the pressure, mate. Do you not think?
I must say, to be fair, though Potter would be coming under pressure at the best of times, given that it's a massive club like Chelsea. To be fair, this particular game, I mean, Mason Mount, I mean, when did he come a croc? He was slated to start at the beginning of the week, so I don't know when he picked up that injury. I only found out minutes before the game that he was unavailable. So when you've got the likes of Mason Mount, Aspilicueta picked up an injury, Raheem Sterling picked up an injury, I think because of these mitigating circumstances, I think that the press won't come down as hard on Chelsea as they may have if these injuries hadn't beset Chelsea. A 1-0 defeat against a Man City team chomping at the bit, you'd imagine, following that 1-1 draw, surprise draw at Frank Lampard's ailing Everton, who took the mother of all beatings against Brighton and Hove Albion away from home. I mean, goodness gracious me, ridiculous. But this is the beauty of the Premier League. You can never underestimate your opponents. People are coming at you left, right, and center. Teams are coming at you. You've got to be giving your 110% every time. You snooze and you lose. So, Graham Potter, a 1-0 defeat with those circumstances, I don't think it's the end of the world. Guardiola will be delighted to collect those 3 points. But I tell you what, this is going to be a very interesting season because Man City know they've got a real task on their hand. It has been Liverpool in the last couple of seasons. This time, it seems to be Arsenal and Newcastle. This league is up for grabs.
Yeah, well, I've a quick question for you in a minute. I'm just going to come to the chat to see what the guys are saying. But I've got a quick question. I'm going to say it now while I remember it so I don't forget it. Do you think that maybe the intensity of the last couple of seasons coming from Liverpool and Manchester City, rivaling each other, keeping that intensity up to compete at the top, keeping the intensity up to compete in the Champions League, do you think that maybe they're just feeling the pressure of that this season, and maybe that's why they are not at the top where we would expect them to be? Obviously, we know Liverpool can always have a bad team, a bad game, and teams get at them. But it's very rare that we see Man City struggling to pick up results. And this season has been a bit of a. I'm not saying they haven't been winning games. We know they've been winning games because they're still up there in the top echelons of the table. But they're a little bit more unpredictable this season than we would normally expect. So yeah, just wanted to chuck that one at you, mate. Seeing if you think that, like I said, the intensity of the last couple of seasons for Liverpool and City, whether you think that is why they are struggling this season. Obviously, you could have a think about that for a second, if you don't mind, Richard. I just want to quickly go for the comments because I can see Kieran has got to go, so I just want to quickly race through these comments, if that's okay. Kieran Williams saying, fast as they fart and they go down, laugh out loud. So obviously Kieran referring to our conversation earlier about the players that go down easy in this day and age. But thank you very much for that, Kieran, and you're absolutely spot on. It's a great way to describe it, I suppose. Joey's saying, laugh out loud, Kieran, so right. Yeah, I think we both agree with that. I think Richard had agreed to a certain extent with some players. That is the case. Joey is saying, the debate today is between Messi and Ronaldo. For me, it's got to be Ronaldo. I think he has pushed himself more, going to different clubs, leagues. Yeah, I suppose so. I think I would agree with some of that. I think it's slightly difficult to say. I don't really get drawn into this much, to be honest, this kind of debate, because I know a lot of fans are now going to come out and start saying that Messi is the greatest player in the world because he's won a World Cup. But, there's also an element of luck involved of winning a World Cup as well. Come on, if you look at the ties that Argentina got compared to some of the other teams, it did look a little bit easy, doesn't it, compared to some of the other teams. I'm not saying they didn't deserve it. They did. They came out on top. They were the strongest team in the tournament. But compared to when we seen Germany win it a couple of years ago and the teams that they faced, compared to the teams that Argentina have faced to win it, there's a little bit of a difference if you make them comparisons. But Messi has deserved to win it. He's a top player. I would never ever criticize him for his talent. He's an amazing player. But like I said, I'm not a big fan of the Messi's the best player in the world bandwagon. But that's not because I don't think he's a great player. I think he's an absolutely fabulous player. But for me, personally, this is just my personal opinion. You guys are entitled to your own opinion. There isn't a best player in the world. There is too many great players that have come, gone, and still exist for there to be one player that is the best of all time. It's just it would be disrespectful to all the other top talented players, the likes of George Best, the likes of as you were just saying about oh, come on, Gareth. The names are going out my head. They come to your head and then they go. You was just talking about
Maradona.
Maradona. Sorry, yeah, his name was on the tip of my tongue. Then it just wasn't quite coming. But like I said, the list goes on. There's so many top players that we could.
Johan Cruyff, Beckenbauer, De Stefano,
Yeah,
Puskás. There's so many players over the eras and generations that have graced the game. And of course, there's always a big bias in favor of forwards. What about the midfielders? What about the defenders? What about the goalkeepers? There have been some fantastic, fabulous, wonderful, iconic, incredible players throughout the generations. You're absolutely right, fan. Then so hats off.
And now you pointed that out to me, Richard. What about that goalkeeper? I forget his name now, but there was a goalkeeper. Do you know? You must remember him. And it was like a goalkeeper show. I forget what his name was now, but he did some unbelievable stuff on the goal line, saving goals. He was like a man possessed. I forget his name now. But he's an older player, couple of generations back now. But you must have an inkling who I'm going on about. I think he did some overhead, like some mad overhead somersault type thing where he cleared the ball, where he kind of backflipped himself to clear the ball. Is it ringing a bell now? I forget his name.
That's the Colombian goalkeeper you're talking about.
Well, I'm saying it because you're just pointing out a goalkeeper is in a whole different league. He doesn't have the opportunity to do what Messi does. So to me, I've never been a big fan of this debate of who's the best player in the world because there's just too many great players that have been. And like Richard has just brilliantly pointed out, you also have to take into account where players play on the field to what they contribute. So absolutely, well said, Richard. Like I say, I'll come back to Richard in a sec. I just want to quickly get to this comment from Kieran. 2 comments to go because I believe Kieran's gone. Kieran's saying, speaking for all man United fans, Ronaldo is the GOAT GOAT all the time, top goal scorer, says it all. Yeah, well, that's a great comment, mate. It is. You're right to a certain extent. I think obviously, at the minute, Man United fans are a bit sour on Ronaldo, understandably. But I'm staying reserved on that because, like I say, with Ronaldo, I am disappointed to see how he's just behaved at United, especially from such a high-profile, prestigious player. But I think we'll try and avoid getting into that one tonight because we've opened plenty of doors to debate already. But Kieran, just saying, off to bed now, early start tomorrow. No worries, Kieran. Thank you very much for being involved tonight. Really do appreciate your support and you coming getting involved. And like I say, all the best to you, mate. And have a restful evening. Stay safe. And hopefully we'll see you on a future stream. Guys, if you're just joining us, please do hit that like button. Drop your comments in the chat. And any comments or any questions for our guest fan on the channel today, Richard from Rich Po Sports. Great football fan, very, very knowledgeable, and just like myself, a very passionate football fan that likes talking about all aspects of the game. And yes, just like me, he has his own club loyalties. He has his own national team loyalties. But he's, like I say, he's very similar to me, as in the respect that he just loves the game of football. So guys, please do pop over to Rich Post Sports, hit that subscribe and show him some support. Obviously, as we continue to progress and Richard comes on, hopefully when you come on the channel in future, we will hopefully help get you a couple of subs from the Fandom community, mate. But yeah,
much appreciated. Go ahead, Fandom. Thank you very much.
No worries, mate. But yeah, sorry. Just wanted to get to that comment for Kieran because I noticed that he needed to go. So I'm just going to go back to Joey's comment because I'm not sure. Did we cover this one? The debate today is between Messi and Ronaldo. Oh, right. Yeah, we did, didn't we? I think.
There's always going to be a preference when people do engage in these debates, and I never poo-poo and shout anyone down when it comes to their. It's like they, do you like rich tea biscuits or do you like digestive biscuits? Messi, from a
I
technical
like
point of view
digestive
and
biscuits
skills
with
wise,
chocolate. Don't forget digestive biscuits with chocolate.
oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We don't want to forget those.
Yeah.
But yeah, Messi, extremely technically gifted, dribbling skills of the highest standards, can pick a pass, humble off the pitch, dynamic and humble off the pitch. I mean, the gentleman, the guy was strolling. He's in his mid-30s. He was literally walking, strolling about the pitch during this World Cup. But this is testimony to the man's outstanding knowledge, cool, calm, and collect approach to the game. At moments when it mattered, knowing when to explode into action, knowing when to move, looking to his left and right, knowing what's around him, picking his moment. It was a lesson, a salutary lesson as to the gentleman's greatness. One of the reasons why I've got him just behind the likes of a Maradona is due to leadership. I remember Barcelona. Football is a team game. It's a team game, absolutely. But I remember Messi and Barcelona going to Liverpool. This is Anfield. Never an easy place to go to. And they had a 3-0 lead. I'm sure you remember the game. They had a 3-0 lead. They had moments at the new camp when they could have made it 4-0. And you could probably see why, because they then went on to Liverpool, where they were given a sound beating. I think it was Origi, the Belgium reserve kind of player, who came up with the decisive goal that knocked Barcelona out. Now, Messi, you had to look carefully to find him in that game. I remember watching it in a pub, and I had a little bit of trepidation, but at the same time, I thought, wait a minute, no. 3-0 lead, Messi in this team, this is going to be almost game over. We'll see exactly what's going on here. Surely it couldn't happen, but it did. The Anfield effect kicked in. Messi, you could say, nowhere to be found.
Yeah, no,
Rewind to 86. Maradona, arguably one of the finest performances by an individual, literally or metaphorically carried an Argentinian team to a World Cup. Outstanding performance. And I remember well him clapping, saluting, applauding, patting his colleagues on the back for glaring misses, glaring opportunities being squandered. Not deliberately, they just weren't able to cope with putting the ball in the net. The pitches weren't the greatest in Mexico, but Maradona, the genius, was showing his leadership qualities and his abilities as a team player, carrying the hopes of millions upon millions upon his shoulders. And he did it with aplomb, an outstanding 1986 tournament and testimony to his genius. Messi, wonderful. But Mr. Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, outstanding because he's done it in a few countries, in Portugal, in England, in Spain, in Italy. Look, that alone speaks volumes for this man's greatness. Van Den.
Yeah, like I say, mate. The one thing that sticks out with me, I know exactly which game you're going on about. Well, I think I do anyway. The game you're going on about with Messi, like you say, the 3-0. I think it was 3-0 if I remember correctly. For Liverpool won it, and then obviously Liverpool taken back to Anfield. And I think that if we have a slight criticism for Messi, if there is one, and there's not much you can criticise him for, because like you say, he's such an outstanding talent and a top professional. But I think if we could pick a slight criticism for him, it is that he struggles sometimes to deal with games where the atmosphere might not be as friendly to him as he's used to. I.e., like you say, you've seen it at Liverpool when he went to Anfield. It was just big parts of the game where he just didn't see he was struggling to get in it. And the disappointing thing for a player like him as well is the fact that the expectation is always on him to turn the game. And as great of a player as he is, he cannot you cannot expect him to be. He's not a robot. He's a human being. And he's going to, just like any other player, he's going to have good games and he's going to have bad games. And you cannot pile on that expectation every game for him to be the difference that helps his respective club get over the line. And it doesn't. I'm going to point out another game. I don't remember it very, very well, but I am going to point it out. Another game that makes me make that analysis about Messi is when when he was playing for Barcelona and they travelled to Celtic. He actually made a comment after the game saying that it was one of the toughest grounds he'd ever been to for atmosphere. You know, because obviously the Celtic fans create one hell of an atmosphere up there, and they will well and truly try and help their team to intimidate any opposition. They don't care who it is. And he did actually make a comment saying that he was very shocked at how intense the Celtic fans made the atmosphere. He said it was like I can't remember his exact words, but I think he implied that it felt like a cauldron of Celtic noise when he went up to Glasgow to play for Barcelona. And I think, if I remember correctly, they lost that game 2-1 to Celtic.
Wow. Well, it's a great point. I mean, the 12th man, so important in football. And you're rightly saying, Fanden, again, with that reasoned balance of yours. Football is a team game, and these players are human beings. Good games, bad games, indifferent games. We cannot take anything for granted.
No, absolutely, Richard. And like I say, it's something that seems to be creeping into the game more and more as we move forward. Where fans and clubs or something. Like, maybe I'm not so clubs do it, but there's certainly certain element of fans. Don't as much, like I say, with top players like Messi and Ronaldo, we know they're great players, and most of the time they are going to be the difference makers, as we've seen so many times in Ronaldo's career. But it's like now, what I noticed while he was at United, and believe me, guys, I have got some criticism for Ronaldo, how he's behaved at United, but we're not here to talk about that tonight. But I just want to point out that some of the expectation while he was at United, you'd think he was the only man on the pitch, with the expectation coming from some of the United community, where they thought that, he was going to make the difference between every game. And that football just doesn't work like that. And not only does it not work like that, I was stunned to that so many United fans wasn't recognising that his best days were behind him. And you're not guaranteed that he's going to turn up for every game. And obviously, as we know, that developed into more issues with the manager and stuff like that. But it was just, like I say, it was just shocking to me to see how many people expected him to still turn it on like the way he was when he was like 27, 28. And it doesn't, like I say, it doesn't work like that. Just quickly to the comments, Richard, before I bring you back, Stevie Allen saying, thanks, Kieran. Thanks for that, Stevie. Really appreciate you keeping the chat active a bit while we was talking. Joey is saying, just give you a sub, Rich Paul Sports. So thank you very much, Joey. Top man.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Joey.
Yeah, one of our one of the best fans we've got involved in Fandom at the moment is Joey. So really, really appreciate that, Joey. Thank you very much for giving a bit of support there to Richard with his channel. And I'm sure you will enjoy some of the content that Richard puts up quite regular on his channel when he gets the chance. So yeah, sorry, Richard. I just wanted to just like I say, keep the fans involved a bit. Guys, if you have got any comments to drop in or any questions for Richard, please do drop them in. We will be staying on for, I don't know, about another 5 or 10 minutes because I do need to jump off tonight. I've got an early start in the morning. But if you guys have got any comments you want added or any opinions you want heard or any questions for Richard, who has kindly joined us tonight, then please do drop your comments in now because, like I say, we won't be keeping the stream running too late tonight. Not that I don't want to. It's just unfortunate I've got to be up early in the morning for work.
If it may, let me just take the opportunity to answer that question that was posed, a wonderful question regarding Manchester City and Liverpool. Have they, over the last couple of seasons, tantamount to burnt themselves out going to and fro in their pursuit of the Premier League title? That's a great question, and it's not one, I must say, that I've not heard that actually in mainstream media or on social media. So a wonderful question. In a nutshell, there could be some truth to that. Certainly, where Liverpool are concerned, going into this season, I put it to those listeners who were listening that this title, this season, was Liverpool's there for the taking, and it was theirs to lose this season. Woe unto me for that particular prediction, because having come so close, I thought they will not want to be denied this time. They will not, by hook or by crook. But it's turned out that this Liverpool team, with that the selling off of Sadio Mane, that proved a big set of boots to fill.
It did. But I just want to chuck. Sorry to interrupt you, Richard. I just want to chuck one other player that is actually, since he actually left, Liverpool have been struggling, and that is Wijnaldum. So I take on board. I think you're right about the player you mentioned, but I think Wijnaldum is also a player that has, since he left. It's amazing, just showing now with Liverpool struggling somewhat a bit more in that midfield, how important he was. Now, Mane, absolutely no question, any team is going to miss Mane. And Liverpool obviously are missing him to a certain extent. But for me, I think the biggest player that they're missing is Wijnaldum. What's your thoughts on that, Richard?
No, that's a very good point. It's a very good point that you're making regarding Wijnaldum. A big miss. Hard working, as you said. Sometimes the players that you don't see do the hard yards, do the dirty work, not the glory hunters or the glory players, the ones who tuck the ball into the net or provide the final crosses. Wijnaldum, absolutely a vital cog in the success of Liverpool. So that he has been a major miss. I absolutely agree with you, Fan Den. So with Mane and the likes of Wijnaldum no longer at the club, what we've seen is that lack of experience, that pressure. Liverpool used to put a lot of pressure from the front on opponents. So the likes of Mane pushing, Wijnaldum pressing in midfield. Now this season, alas, the likes of Fabinho, Thiago Alcantara, who is a terrific passer of the ball, but he's not one of the terriers of world football. So you've got Fabinho, who is a little bit past his best, didn't get much minutes for Brazil during the World Cup, and you can see why. And basically, Liverpool are not the same team that they were a couple of seasons ago. They simply aren't. I'm playing fantasy football league. I will not be picking Liverpool footballers unless I'm absolutely pushed to, because I can see there are holes in this squad, and Klopp has the mother of all tasks to get them to a top 4 finish. Meanwhile, Manchester City, the big news about them is that they've gone for, at the start of the season, Haaland. Haaland is one of the best goal scorers that we have seen. His goal scoring prowess has slightly eased up only in the last couple of games we're talking about. He's had a prolific start to the season, outstanding striker and scorer. But as each game goes by, other teams will know exactly what Manchester City are offering, know that he will be their main target and source of goals, so they can prepare. I see you're nodding, Fan Den. Yes, they can prepare accordingly. The best managers, the best squads, the best players can deal with it. And when I say best, I'm going to put that in brackets, because the likes of Brentford took on the likes of Liverpool. Brentford aren't a top 4 club necessarily, but they've got professional, honest players, can work to a plan, hard working. That's absolutely the bottom line that they expect everyone to put in a decent shift and to give it their all. As a Bolton fan, you will appreciate that. And that can pay dividends. So our Haaland has been pulling up trees by scoring a bucket load of goals. But have they lost a little in the energy levels in other areas of the field? That's the question. Haaland can go on to be the top scorer for this season, but as a unit, are Man City as strong as they were in previous seasons, where you could rely on goals from a series of players? The likes of Phil Foden is not playing his full part. Mahrez not playing his full part in terms of scoring of goals, which is the hardest thing to do in football. Haaland makes it seem like it's an easy thing, but over reliance on one player could result in the overall effect not being as powerful as it could be. But we must not lose sight of the fact that Arsenal can only do what they can do, and what they're doing has been showing outstanding form. I can only remember them losing to Manchester United, and even in that game, they could have come away with something. They were pressing for victory at Manchester United. They've had a wonderful start to the season, and no team, whatever their form has been, could deal with this particular start. So it's almost halfway. We've got loads of games to go. Man City could still come out victorious. Today, a 1-0 victory. They didn't mow down Chelsea. They did the hard yards. They suffered, and they came through. 3 points. That's all they wanted at the end of this game. And we'll see exactly what happens. But yes, the last 2 seasons have been seismic, with Liverpool and Man City going toe-to-toe. This season, Liverpool have been found wanting, have dropped off the pace, and I think, will find it difficult to get a top 4. They'll be delighted with the top 4 finish. Man City know they've got the mother of all challenges on their hands, and they can't afford to be slipping. They've got to challenge themselves, gird themselves up, because by any means necessary, they need to haul back the points. I think it was an 8-point deficit that's been cut down to 5 points now, which is very little. So we will see. I'm struggling with a cough at the moment, so I'm going to bid you farewell as soon as you end the show. But a great question. Man City still the team to beat. Arsenal can only take it one game at a time. And as an Arsenal fan, I'm enjoying the ride.
Awesome. Well, I think I was nodding there with regards to Haaland, because in the first couple of games of the season, obviously he hit the ground running, scored quite a few goals, and the amount of fans that was coming on going, "Oh, he's the greatest player in the world. He's awesome. He's another level. He's this, he's that." And I said, honest, mate, honest, I can show you the comments of how many fans I replied to saying, he's in the honeymoon period. Give him 12 months. Let the other teams get to know him. Let them learn his tactics, how he's going to attack the box, and see that his numbers drop next season. And I had said that to so many fans, going on, jumping on the bandwagon, how great he is. And there's no question he is a top player. But it's like I said to him, whenever you see players come into the Premier League that have not played here before and might have had success on the continent or in other countries, they can come here and always have a great season for the first year. But it's how they do after that. Once that honeymoon period is over and the teams have had chance to get to know them, learn which ways they're going to attack, how the runs they're going to make, and managers start to get familiar with the approach that the opposition will use with him and stuff like that. So that's why I was nodding so intently when you were saying that, because I'm thinking you're saying exactly what I've been saying at the start of the season when everybody was raving about him. And there's no question he is a top talent, and we are buzzing to have him involved in the Premier League. But it's amazing to me how many fans that are knowledgeable look past that honeymoon period. They see a player come in, do really well, and they think that's the benchmark. And it's like, no, that's not the benchmark. The benchmark will come next season when he's more familiar with the league and when the other opposition players and managers are more familiar with him. So absolutely spot on there, Richard. Before you go, obviously, Joey, if you're still there, mate, please do let us know your thoughts on this if you've got any. But before you go, Richard, just one final question before we call it a day. I just want to know your thoughts on Newcastle, because they've come from nowhere this season. I know, obviously, you will not want them overtaking your beloved Arsenal, but we have to give them a bit of praise for the amazing I mean, I thought this season the best they would do would be UEFA Cup positions with the investment they made last summer. Because let's be honest, yes, they've chucked some money about, they've spent some money on the team, but they haven't really gone out and signed what you might call the marquee players. Do you get what I mean? They've just built a hard-working team. And we have to give them some praise and some respect and credit for what they're doing this season. So I just want to know your thoughts on it, mate.
I'm going to give you at least 3 names. I could push it to 4 if necessary. In fact, I'm going to push it to 4. Longstaff, Dan Burn, Sven Botman, and Joel Linton. Let those four names digest in your systems, good fans of football fandom. Newcastle are flying high, top four berth currently in the Premier League, with players such as those mentioned that would not make any, on paper, of the Manchester City, Arsenal, Manchester United, or Liverpool starting lineups, maybe not even the squads. And yet the work, the job that Eddie Howe, formerly of Bournemouth FC, has done, I can only salute as a Gunners, as a football fan, bringing the likes of Brazil's Bruno Gomes, a player who has taken to tying, to the Toon Army like a duck to water.
Yeah, and it's pretty cold up there.
Almiron.
He must have noticed it. I say, yeah, and it's pretty cold up there. He must have noticed the temperature difference.
Absolutely, Fanden. And that makes that transition.
Makes it special.
And it absolutely. And I tell you what, whenever I hear Bruno talking about his beloved Newcastle United, and when he talks about the passion of the fans and willing to go the extra mile and enjoying his football at Newcastle, that is testimony to the camaraderie, to the role and work that Eddie Howe has been doing, the collective unity of that Newcastle United team, playing football that they're enjoying, well organized, creating chances, a feel-good factor. I'm sure the likes of Kevin Keegan comes to mind. These are good times that you are right, Fanden, to say many would have thought would not be coming to Newcastle anytime soon. Yes, they've had an influx of big financial backing, but they have not gone out and splurged on the best that money can buy. What they've done is invested through a good scouting system in players and use the existing players that they've got to produce the best that they can. And Eddie Howe cannot be applauded enough for his work with Newcastle United. I really was not wanting them to finish ahead of Arsenal, of course, for obvious reasons. I would be absolutely delighted if they could claim one of the top four positions in this Premier League. Right about now, nobody has their hands on that Premier League title. Let us see what happens. But Newcastle have been playing their part. And I tell you what, every time they step onto the field, it takes a good team, and it will take a good team to come up with 3 points against them. They go onto the field full of confidence. I mean, who are their strikers? Callum Wilson? Callum Wilson, who's not always fit. I think they may ultimately struggle where goals are concerned. They may suffer. Joe Linton is not a Brazilian international, but he's a hard worker who was initially trumpeted in some circles, didn't really deliver, but he's arguably in the form of his footballing life, certainly where the Premier League is concerned. So Newcastle United are absolutely a real breath of fresh air to the Premier League. The usual suspects, the Man Uniteds, the Liverpools, the Man Cities, they have been put on notice that Newcastle are there doing their job in an outstandingly professional manner, enjoying their football. And when you've got that combination, plus those magnificent Newcastle supporters, you've got a heady brew. So all teams need to beware. Arsenal, as I said, would be delighted at the end of the day to have not been defeated by a Newcastle team that are cock-a-hoop and full of confidence. Arsenal are full of confidence, would have liked to get the 3 points. I'll check out the highlights and see if there was indeed any diving or skullduggery. It ended 0-0. I'm happy with the point at the moment, and I'm hoping that Arsenal could go onwards and upwards. But Newcastle, Absolutely fantastic and a breath of fresh air to this 2022-23 campaign.
Absolutely, mate. And the thing is with Newcastle now as well, with the fact that they've put themselves in that position right where they are now, right now, they have put themselves in such a fantastic position that they're now in the position where they can actually challenge Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea in the transfer market because players now seeing them in that top four, the players that Newcastle maybe felt that they couldn't quite get over the line in the summer, not because they haven't got the money, but just because of obviously certain players wanting the prestige of being involved in the Champions League. Now, then players are going to be looking 6 months down the line at Newcastle in a completely different light. And like I say, it's going to. That's my only concern with it. It's good, but it's also concerning because what I'm concerned with it is that another club coming into it prepared to spend big money is going to ramp up these transfer figures even higher. And the reason that concerns me is because of the clubs in the lower league, the championship. If it goes higher at the top level, it has a knock-on effect right throughout the football pyramid. And that I've no problem with Newcastle doing well. I am absolutely, like you said, brilliant. I'm buzzing for them Toon fans up there. They deserve something to shout about. But my concern with the Newcastle takeover is that now it's going to ramp that transfer window up to a whole new level. If we thought it's been getting crazy recently with the likes of Liverpool spending 80 odd million on a defender, imagine what it's going to go like now with Newcastle coming into it, mixing it up because they're going to. They've got the finances to flex their muscles, and now they've put themselves in a position where they can actually really flex them financial muscles. So I'm not sure if you think the same, mate. Like I say, I'm buzzing to see Newcastle having some success, and I think it's well overdue through the fact that Newcastle fans have had such a tough few years with their previous owner. But like I said, my concern is this transfer window. We've seen it ramp up another level in the last few years. With Newcastle now chucking their hat in the ring, it's going to ramp up to another level. And it's not the top clubs that it bothers. It's the worry for the lower league clubs because, for example, a player that in the Champions League that now a striker or a midfielder that might cost a top championship club, last season might have cost them £6, £7, £8 million. Now it could be ramping it up to more like 12 to £15 million. And these clubs in the Championship ain't earning that kind of money to spend that kind of expense on a striker. Do you get what I mean? So that's my only concern with it.
In addition to everything you have rightfully said, Fanden, there is the small matter of where Newcastle is located. It does remain a very cold city and cold part of the country at the best of times. So I don't know how many of the top players are going to be passionate about coming up there and donning a t-shirt and running about week after week, uphill and down dale.
It's an excellent point, mate. But as we've just seen, money talks. Who would have thought that Ronaldo would have signed for a Saudi Arabia club? I know
it's a little warm. It's a little warmer over there, to be fair.
Yes, it's warmer, but it's also a drop in levels from a player that's telling us he wants to play at the highest level for as long as he can. What I'm pointing out to you, it's not the weather. I'm pointing out to you the unpredictability of that. None of us, I certainly didn't see him signing for a club like that. I thought he would maybe sign for a Portuguese club, maybe a French club, because he claimed he wanted Champions League football more, and that's why he wanted out of United. So I was stunned when I found out he signed for Saudi Arabia. And fine, fair enough. Good luck to him, and I wish him the best. And I wish the Saudi Arabian footballers, the Saudi Arabian nation, the best to obviously bring more attention to their football. That is fantastic. I totally understand why they're doing it, but I'm just pointing out that was unpredictable. And money talks. And, Newcastle might not be the most attractive place to go and play. But let's be honest, it can get pretty fresh in Manchester and it can get wet and windy and stuff, So Like I say, anything is possible with the amounts of money, mate, that is being chucked about. But you do make a great point with Newcastle being on the east coast of England, getting the full brunt of that Arctic wind coming off the North Sea that whistles round St James's Park.
Ooh, you're painting pictures there, Fandon. You're painting real pictures. I must say a quick word on Mr. Ronaldo. Viewers and subscribers, those who watch the rerun, you're going on to 2 hours, 35 minutes, Fandon. You need to bring this one to a close. But I tell you what, when time flies, when you're having fun, it applies right here, right now. But Cristiano Ronaldo, I tell you what, I look at that Saudi Arabia deal. I remember listening to Talk Sport, who were interviewing influential mover and shaker in Saudi Arabian football, and he said he's 80% confident of getting Cristiano Ronaldo to sign. And you could hear the trepidation and the curiosity at the same time in the interviewer as he heard this statement. But what's interesting is, I think, in light of Messi lifting his arch rival, Messi lifting the world title. Of course, Ronaldo's lifting the European title, but not the World Cup. I think that somewhere in Mr. Ronaldo's mind, possibly, was the idea that he could be doing a first, getting a little bit of upmanship on the likes of Messi and other footballers the world over by brokering and signing on the line that is dotted for a record. I mean, it's a 1 year or 2 year deal, but the sums involved absolutely astronomical. And I think that Mr. Ronaldo would have said, you know what, somebody values and rates me highly enough to pay me more than anyone else. So this is going to let me stand out as somebody of particular note. Messi has his first World Cup with Argentina. Cristiano Ronaldo has the first high-profile, extremely lucrative contract with Saudi Arabia. We can't name anybody else in the Saudi Arabian league, but I tell you what, we're going to be looking out for other players who will join the Saudi Arabian league. And Saudi Arabian football is on the map, not just for beating Argentina, but because they've now got the signature and the playing royalties and opportunities to see Cristiano Ronaldo, who may still well be representing Portugal in the European Championship. So he's a high-profile player, still playing at a pretty decent standard. And if he can't get into the Champions League, well, he's got the best deal financially going. So, yes, I think Mr. Ronaldo has remained in the spotlight. He's a canny old soldier.
All right. Well, I'm not sure if you've heard, mate. There's rumours. I don't know how much true. I was actually reading about it late last night, and obviously I don't want to get into this too much because we're trying to wrap up the show now. But I am just going to mention it before we go. And I'm presuming you might have heard the same rumours. There is a rumour floating about. I can't pinpoint whether it's actually true or not. But there is a rumour floating about that in Ronaldo's contract is a clause for him to move to Newcastle should Newcastle get Champions League football. Because obviously Newcastle's owners are Saudi Arabian, aren't they? So whether that's just paper talk, just clickbait, time will tell. I was reading a few reports on it last night. Some were claiming there's truth in it. Some were claiming there's no truth in it, that it's just clickbait. So only time is going to tell with that one. But maybe that is kind of why he's took the risk to go to Saudi Arabia, because there is a clause for him to come back to the Champions League. Because let's bear in mind, he's still got that rivalry going on with Messi for the top goal scorer or most goals scored in from a player within their career. And at the minute, I think Ronaldo's leading it by about 5 goals or something. But obviously, we have to bear in mind, Messi's still got another 2 years where he's 2 years younger than Ronaldo. So he's potentially got another 2 years to match Ronaldo's scoreline. So you would think if he's going to want to come to protect that stat that he's got, that record that he's got within the Champions League, then he's going to be wanting to leave himself with a door open to get back in the Champions League. So I'll grab his thoughts on that in a sec. But just from Joey, because he commented earlier about what we was talking about with Liverpool, because Joey is a massive Liverpool fan. He's saying, think we are struggling more in midfield. So that would kind of slot in well with what we were saying about Liverpool missing Wijnaldum. So, yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, mate. But, yeah, do you
No,
want to, Richard, before we call it a day?
no, I agree with Joey again. Thanks for your subscription to Rich Post Sports, and thank you for your continued support of Football Fan Den, the Football's Fans channel. Absolutely. Liverpool are struggling. I think if you listen to the phone-ins, if you listen to the pundits on mainstream and on social media, I think the midfield area is one of the areas, particularly that has been identified as a porous point where Liverpool are concerned. I mean, if you've got a midfield that is not as strong as it could be, then that means that the opponents are raining down and bearing down on the defense. That calls into question the defense and the likes of Van Dijk and Konate and Trent Alexander, who's got his famous issues in defending. That puts them under pressure. Alisson, a fantastic goalkeeper, he's going to be called into action more often than not. And it just puts a lot of pressure when you don't have a robust midfield. I think most of the teams that do well in a Premier League or Champions League campaign have a very good midfield. You're going to have defensive midfielders and an attacking aspect to the game. And Liverpool, if you're going to call out Fabinho as your number one defensive option in midfield, with the likes of Jordan Henderson, who's not getting any younger, in his absence, it was, I think, Elliott, Fabinho, and Thiago in midfield against Brentford. Well, those 78% possession, when it came to set pieces and corners, it was all hands on decks, and they were found wanting. 78% possession, so they can knock the ball about, but it's all about end product. And Salah is not cutting it at the moment, and it's going to be a really challenging season for Liverpool. So, Joey, I absolutely agree with you. The midfield area is going to be one where they need to bring in some more bodies and quality bodies. Morocco had a wonderful player in midfield. Maybe they could look out for him in terms of acquiring him. They've got Cody Gakpo coming into the ranks. He may bring some much needed energy to the Liverpool cause, but they're going to be up against it. And Liverpool have had terrific success and been at the cutting edge of not only domestic but European football over the last couple of seasons. They may be due a blip. I think they've got Real Madrid in the Champions League coming up, Joey. I don't know if you fancy their chances in that. That could be a chance for them to reignite the dying embers. We shall see. But midfield, a vital area. As far as Arsenal's concerned, we're looking good. I salute Mr. Xhaka, Mr. Partey, Mr. Odegaard, El Nene. Yes, let's wish the best for the Gunners for the forthcoming season. Fanden, wrap up when you will. I salute. It finished Chelsea 0, Manchester City 1. The game is afoot, only 5 points behind Arsenal in the Premier League for this season. It's going to be nip and tuck this season, but you can guarantee that every game that is played, there's going to be something at stake, one way or the other. There's always grip and drama when it comes to the Premier League.
Absolutely, mate. And I think the main port of drama right now is, yes, it's going to be with the continued battle going on in the league, but also the new battle that we're potentially going to see open up in the transfer window, which we don't normally see, because normally, these top clubs, normally when it goes the way that it's planned, they normally have a plan for the January transfer window. If they're going to do anything dramatic, it's normally in the summer. But with Newcastle and Arsenal up there unexpectedly by some, that's gonna. I would expect that's gonna have some kind of impact this January with the transfer, and the fact that it may, like for example, as we've seen in previous seasons, Man City not done a lot in January. They tend to prefer to do their business in the summer, and the fact that maybe they fall themselves getting caught by surprise by the fantastic performances of both clubs respectively, Newcastle and Arsenal, that maybe we might see that has some impact on City coming into the transfer window and doing business in January a bit more than they normally would. Plus the fact that I'm sure that Newcastle are going to be looking to flex their financial muscles. And I'm also hearing that Arsenal are linked with a number of players, which is not a surprise with them sitting at the top of the league. So, yeah, like you say, Richard, we've got so much more to look forward to through the season. Joey's saying, Eddie Howe, mate. I'm thinking that was referring to what we was talking about earlier. And Joey also pointing out money talks. Absolutely, mate. Sorry, apologies, Joey. I'm a bit late with your comments, mate. Joey saying, thanks, guys. See you next time. Absolutely. Thanks, Joey. And I'm going to leave the final words of the show to Richard before we go, guys. So thank you very much to everybody that's come and got involved in tonight's stream. It's been absolutely fantastic. And really appreciate Richard coming, joining us. And a big shout out to Joey as well for his amazing support yet again on another stream. Thank you, Joey. But like I say, final word of the show is for Richard, who we want to also give our appreciation to for today's joining us on today's stream and making it a little bit different. Final thoughts from you, Richard?
Well, it has been a watch along to remember. My first time joining you. It's been a long time coming, but I hope that it's one of many tete-a-tetes and soirees that we have this season. I salute Football Fan Den, the footballers fans channel. If you love your football, you like unbiased, tell it as it is, hearts on sleeve commentary and opinions, Football Fan Den is the place to be. We come from good stock, as we alluded to earlier. JD of IMAX It Football, he speaks it as he sees it. Football in CONCACAF region, Jamaica, he calls it as he sees it. And Football Fan Den is definitely cut from that similar cloth, as is Rich Post Sports. It's finished at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 1. A well eked out victory. 3 points. That's all Pep Guardiola would have required from his Manchester City team this evening. They know they're in the mother of all battles this evening for the Premier League title. It's one game at a time. It's a unique footballing season, one that has been not bookended, but it has been halted halfway through with the Qatar World Cup, and now we have a resumption. Who will finish this marathon of a season on top? In Champions League, who knows? In the Premier League, who knows? But as a Gunners fan, Arsenal want to make it one to truly remember. But it's one game at a time. Mr. Guardiola, be on your P's and Q's. We say bring it. We're ready. Are you? Viewers and subscribers, hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Look out for Football Fan Den. He is coming at you regularly with the best in terms of coverage, and he's calling out for you to issue and put forward your views and opinions where it comes to football. Your views matter. Your views are required. And Rich Post Sports salutes Football Fan Den and wishes one and all a happy, peaceful, healthy, and wealthy 2023. Football Fan Den. Peace.
Thank you very much. And Richard, really been an absolute pleasure to have you involved tonight. And like I said, guys, just finally before I go, please do pop yourselves over to Rich Post Sports. Go and show him some support. All you have to do is click his name in the chat. He was involved in the chat earlier, so if you just click on his name, that should take you straight to his channel. And hopefully next time we have Richard on, we will. I'll try and add the link, and hopefully maybe you will also at some point see me on Rich Post Sports. Also getting involved in what Richard's doing on his channel, which is amazing stuff. As we look to try and help each other occasionally where we can with the with the football and what we're both trying to achieve to create really unique channels for you guys to come and get involved in. So massive, massive thank you to Richard for joining us today. And also thank you to all you guys that's got involved in the chat. Look after yourselves, stay safe, and all the best. Thank you very much, Richard. Take care, guys. All the best.